Like 5 lights in Baku for season 4, and we are underway for season 4 in Baku. It looks like Mr. Wiggles has got a good start. John trying to go down the inside but can't get there, but Small Smiley with a great move around the outside into turn 1, moving up into P2. Tamino losing a bit of places, a couple of places on the first lap. Deflated getting a great start up into P6 already after one corner, but it is Mr. Wiggles leading it away after the first couple of corners. It's crashed. Please don't bring out a safety car. Oh my god, it has a VSC.
Oh, guys, I'm so sorry.
It's only a VSC, so I think we're okay.
That was embarrassing.
But and Small Slides
oh,
off.
He's gone off.
Oh, and he hits his front wing there. He hasn't lost it all, but that's a really unfortunate there for Small Smiley. It has locked up going into the castle section and has fallen all the way down into P9.
The lead, so as long as nothing gets too crazy, it's starting to come to him. But that said, he hasn't got a lot of ERS left.
Perry Jerry going down the inside of Joseph Hales there, using his tyres to his advantage. Oh, a bit of close one to the wall for Joseph, and Tenton will be sniffing all over the back of the Alpine and wanting to get past as quick as he can.
The McLaren's got 36% amount of ERS left, and yeah, he should be long past him before he goes to the corner. He goes round to the outside, and it looks like he's got a car length ahead just before the corner. So we see the McLaren up now into second position.
Very nice by John getting that position back that he lost on lap 3. And we'll be wanting to try and catch up to John as much as possible, as Hales has had a spin and he's lost part of his front wing damage. That definitely won't be good for Joseph Hales. He's lost sliding all over the place. It won't. In the switch scene, opens the DRS. Can he get in front of IIRL? Pulls to the inside and gets the move nicely done into turn 1. Oh, and IIRL. Oh, and
he goes wide. And
Tamino's spun. They've both spun into turn 1.
At the same time. Unbelievable. And that puts Perry Jerry into 3rd place in the Aston Martin.
10 up to 4th as well. This is that was crazy. Both title contenders last season spinning into turn 1 after down his. Oh, Tamino spins again, and that gives Flew the easy position that he wanted. But he might be a little bit
Deflated Wee's had an incident too. Just before that corner, Deflated Wee just had another incident, and another yellow flags for going. It's been, as soon as the tyres are starting to die, we're seeing a lot of mistakes happening across this field.
And I think Mr. Wiggles has made a mistake as well. He's into the pit lane on the hard tyres and he's had a front wing change.
So, but now John, after everything that's been going on, has taken the lead, and I think Greg has gone off as well. He's also made a damage in the system McLaren.
Oh, and I think it's the Aston Martin of Sammy just going straight on into turn 3.
Just have a break from all of the action, please.
This is crazy. Or safety car, and that's what will Richie do now.
This is more or less. It's more or less at pit window, where all of the, I think maybe John was expecting to come in anyway, but
I can hear you, Spark.
I know you can hear me, but I don't think our voices are coming through in the stream.
Yeah, I can hear it on the stream, mate. And he's got a great restart as well.
Very good restart.
Slew getting a bit of a poor one, but IIRL is right behind Mr. Wiggles. And we'll be wanting to get the move done. Oh, and Deflated Wee going around the outside of Perry Jerry going into turn 1. Can he get the move done? Oh, Perry Jerry keeping the speed there. Very good defence. He's struggling a bit, is Tamino. Possibly cold tyres as well. As we know, Tenton is the sensible driver at times.
I'll let you take the heat for that one. Tenton carrying a lot of speed through turn 3. I was worried about whether he was going to get the car stopped there. Another moment in in Sector 3.
Evening, Tamino. Unfortunate about your race, but always next week, mate.
You're on for a good one, mate. So keep your chin up, and yeah, best of luck for the next race in Brazil.
He's out of a 1 second margin as well. He needs to try and get in it.
Oh, he looks up.
Oh, he just taps the wall there. Oh, and I think that might be his chance for win gone for 10-10. Oh, that's so unfortunate for him.
Damage. Oh, with a driver like 10-10, who, let's be honest, is a very, very good peddler himself. He's only got one more straight to go for the McLaren to win the Grand Prix.
Coming through the final corners now for John. As me and Spark have both said, he has prevailed under the pressure. He's kept his cool and he's kept it really calm in the McLaren. He's going to win the first race of the season as he crosses the line to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Well done to John for winning the first race of season 4 and in no assist. 10-10 comes home in a solid P2, and IIRL comes home once again on the podium in P3. Mr. Wiggles P4 making a mistake towards the end. Could have been a P3 for him. And very consistent from Flu32 coming up at P5. Very well done to Flu there. Deflated P6. Maybe felt he could have done better. I just about stayed in front of Prevenel there by 0.032 of a second. Destined on his debut, P8, very looking at a double points positions for the Alfa Romeo, coming home in P10. Deaton in P11, I don't think he'll be too disappointed.
Worn out medium tyres. Wiggles as well, taking those hards a little bit longer than anyone else. Wait, please.
Yeah, John on the podium here means that he's leading the championship. And I think that's the first time he's been leading the championship for nearly 2 seasons, which is good to see. Good to see John back up there. So it is John then in first place with 10-10 behind him in second. IIRL comes home for P3.
3 tyres if he gives a front wing. So with 5 red lights on, they go out and we are underway for the Brazilian Grand Prix as IIRL leads him off the front. Brilliantly start from him as Top Gun comes up behind in 3rd position there. Everything's slightly line astern coming up the order. As you see, John fighting with Tamino for 4th and 5th. I think the Ferrari is just about ahead, but the McLaren has the inside line coming into turn 4. IIRL remains on to the lead. Wiggles in 2nd, Top Gun 3rd, TV 8. Tamino in 4th as this Mr. Wiggles goes outside the track, just about keeps it on there. Everyone pretty much line astern, and we have an incident in the back, and that is Destin PRDM. That is, oh, I think he's just about held it, and it doesn't look like he's got too much damage there, thankfully. But that first lap complete. IIRL in the lead, Mr. Wiggles in 2nd, Top Gun in 3rd, TV8 in 4th, John in 5th, that guy in 6th position, followed by Perry Jerry in 7th. IIRL right behind. I'll have to wait. I think he's going to wait for the DRS. No, he's going to throw it down to the inside. Mercedes across Red Bull, and this time it don't make contact going into turn 2. So that is how you do it. Hamilton to Verstappen, but that actually gives the Red Bull DRS coming into turn 4. Is he going to be able to retake the move? How hard is the Mercedes going to defend? Doesn't go for the move, and that puts Mr. Wiggles up into the lead.
And retires?
He's retired. Really?
Maybe just want Ross's IIRL's day. He just might have not been liking it. But that is very unusual. In the McLaren, going for the P3 that he wants to get. Going down the inside. TV at Tamino, very nice. Very nice defender there, keeping it around the outside. But John does have the DRS going down into turn 4. TV at Tamino defending to the inside very quickly. But with that DRS or possibly ERS, no contest like Clark says. John up into P3. Back to the outside. He's got the DRS. He's got more ERS than deflated. Can he keep it around the outside? Oh! Very close to contact.
Just keeps it on, he almost makes it stick.
It's going to go around outside again.
This is lovely racing between the two. But Deflated stays in front for the time being. But while we're
Wiggles has
watching
made a
this,
mistake. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a time penalty as well, and there's only
Yeah.
3/10 now.
that 3 seconds
Mr.
could be
Colucci.
crucial for Wiggles.
fighting for the undercut.
Oh yeah, he's on the medium tyres though. So Top Gun staying out on the
20
hards.
23 laps or so on the mediums.
But
And
yeah, as you
ironically,
say,
he's stuck behind a Haas.
as you say. Oh yeah, his Top Gun's teammates are Deflated. Might actually. Oh, and he's
Wiggles has lost
spun!
it!
Oh,
He's lost it. Out of turn 10, cold
Dear.
tyres, cold hards.
that is one of the easiest corners to lose it on.
It is. It
Dear.
is.
Yeah.
But they are going to be very nice towards the end, them medium tyres. And oh, almost runs into a wall there on the exit. Oh, and he's spun in the pit lane.
Oh, he has.
He
No
spun in the pit
way.
lane, hit the wall, and lost a
That's going to give
bunch
it to
of
John
time.
John.
And Mr. Wiggles might even get in front of Top Gun even after his spin. Coming out of the pits, a side by side going into turn 4. Mr. Wiggles' warm tyres keeps it around the outside, and he does. Even after his spin, he's in front of Top Gun. Top Gun tries to go around the outside there.
Oh, Wiggles!
Oh, Wiggles.
He's made a
Big
mistake,
snap.
he's gone round. Oh.
This is
Now
very
quick.
entertaining. Looking like it for the time being, as long as Tamino doesn't make a mistake, it's going to be close between him and Perigel. Oh, Tamino's pushed to the
Tamino's
pit
made
lane
a
as
mistake
well!
now.
Oh my god.
And Tamino's got
He's
front wing
he's got
damage.
front wing damage, yeah.
Oh, that's such a
Two
shame.
costly errors.
What is he doing here? He
I-
needs to
he's
get going, he's
kicking-
breaking all the boards.
I don't exactly know what he's doing here.
I think he might give it up.
Yeah, I think he's more.
Oh, and Wiggles has made a mistake.
Into it, but he's going to have to take so much life out of his tyres to make that happen. He could be a sitting duck by the end, to your point, TD.
Yeah, Perigel just over 3 seconds away from him now. But like you say, worn tyres at the end could make him very vulnerable. But 1010 is starting to catch up to Perigel even more. But does need to keep the life in his tyres. Ten goes for the move.
Oh,
Ooh, bit of a
big snap.
I think a bit of a lock of the ears there, and he gets the move done, but he is going to be vulnerable down to turn 4, it looks like. And
But
that
the amount
guy
of traction
following his
that guy's got
teammate,
as well.
a little bit of a jerk there by Perigel, maybe off-putting that guy. That guy following his teammate through, and them two will want to pull as much of a gap as possible to Perigel.
Yeah. But the Aston Martin was boxed in there by the other Williams overtaking him, so there's nothing he could do. That guy in Perigel is now at 3.2 seconds, and Smiley is now past Perigel.
I think Perigel is struggling on them 19 lap old hards now. He's now
I do think he's going to get him back here though.
yeah, possibly might get him back going into turn 4. Looks to the inside but doesn't quite get close enough.
Oh, he's gone wide.
Runs wide.
We're into Jung Chao. TD, take him over the finish line.
Coming round the final proper corner, as long as he gets the traction, which he does, it's going to be 2 wins in a row for John John. He's going to extend his championship lead by some more points to 10-10 as he crosses the line to win the Brazilian Grand Prix. And what a race by John John there, crossing the line to win. Top Gun with a very solid race coming home in P2. 10-10 in P3, that guy coming home in P4, but will lose the place to smaller Smiley. Perigel losing a lot of time on them hard tyres at the end, coming home in P6. Flew with another very consistent race in P7. AMS D-Bomb went a little bit under the radar, but is coming home in P8 in the AlphaTauri. The flip comes up in P9 with Mr. Speaker just behind in P10. But I reckon Greg will get Mr. Speaker. And I think he did just about.
R.I.P.
I'd have won that race as well.
Shout out to its family.
It is the man that says to put setups in every time we do a restart and he forgets it.
I literally put it in 2 minutes beforehand.
I thought there'd be nothing more ironic, eh?
But it is John who comes over for a second win of the season, extending his championship lead, and 10-10 getting another podium. Too sad about, at least.
Another very good drive as well.
Yeah,
From
indeed.
9th to 3rd.
I need to pick driver of the day now. We have 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights in Paul Ricard, and the lights are out, and away we go for the 27 lap race. And it looks like Deflated Wee has got a very good start compared to John, and he is trying to go around the outside of John, and he does get the move done in the Haas, but there's contact!
He's been spun!
Between John and Deflated once again. It just happens every single time that there is. Them two having contact.
Such a shame. He had such a good start as well. They got everyone else still playing it relatively sensible. But yeah, I think John may be facing a penalty for that one. As he loses 3rd place now to Joseph Hales. Doesn't like the McLaren's got any damage either. But bad start all round for the McLaren.
But this has especially helped IIRL, who is now up into P1 from P3.
Not give up all the way through the 3rd sector.
They're still going there, even coming down to the final corner. John on the inside will have the more optimal line. Squeezes Joseph out a little bit, but no contact made. And that is John back up into P2. And they'll be wanting to get after IIRL to get his P1 back.
Straight onto the back of the Red Bull and almost
and
touches the back of him.
Joseph round in the Alpine, and he is down all the way into 11th place. I don't know whether that was contact or whether it was just a spin through turn 3, but now if he can do that, which he has now, down the inside of the penultimate corner, but does have the outside line now for the... and they've made contact as well! More contact, and that is Williams up into P1 and P2. Drama between the front
you'd be saying that in this decade, eh? Both Williams, 1 and 2. But that's 2 major collisions that John has been part of.
And Deflated Wee's lost to fail. Wants to get up into the podium places. He's got the DRS, but so Smaller Smiley, it's going to be hard to go get him, but he is going down the inside. Smaller Smiley keeps it, but does run wide here. And that could give a chance for Mr. Wiggles, and he does. Goes around the outside, nearly makes contact again. And that is prevailing IIRL, and they're going 3 wide.
There's going to be 3 abreast potentially right now, coming into the Bose. Look at that!
And they've just got round, and IIRL. Lovely stuff from IIRL. But that is extremely close.
That is brilliant stuff.
But this is only helping the front two. 10-10 of that guy. Now 1.6 seconds ahead.
So yeah, for reference, Mr. Wiggle started in 15th place and now he's up to 4th. It's all from 3rd to 6th. It is all kicking off at the moment. And
we know the driver of IIRL, and Mr. Wiggle's just making a mistake. Yeah, a bit of a wiggle there. John is now right on the back of IIRL, and IIRL is defending like a lion. He isn't letting this up.
And there's
contact! There's 3 rounds! John a Smaller Smiley round at Le Bose. Wow.
That is unbelievable. So that's the 3rd time. That's the 3rd time that John's been involved in 3 incidents, and now he's just been spun round into 16th place. I mean, that'll be music to IIRL's ears. And
staying in the DRS now of that guy, possibly keeping his ERS up, and this is going absolutely perfectly for the Williams drivers. Also right on the back of Prev. Flew defending towards the inside. Prev looks to have good straight line speed here. He's going towards the inside of
Defend against thin air initially. There we go.
Keeps it around the outside, getting very close to him, but it looks to have got through very nicely. And he has. Up into P5 for Prev. And Smaller Smiley is now going down the inside of Flew. Prev just trying to keep his position as hard as possible.
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 7 cars that's so close to each other from 8th place down. So I think it's Deflated Wee all the way back to Padge, and they are all so close to each other as Deton gets a little bit out of shape there in his Red Bull.
Oh, and Destin spun. Oh, and John spun again. I think we've
What
seen
is
another
going on with
incident there for
John
John
today?
I think that's the 4th incident with today we've seen with John. What is happening with the championship leader? He's coming into the
He's
pits.
coming in.
10-10 stays out, so 10-10 going for the overcut then. He couldn't pit like he was saying earlier because he couldn't go for the double stack. And this is going to have to be a mighty lap from 10-10 if he wants to try and get in front of that guy. Oh, and this isn't going to be very nice for 10-10. Padge's AI coming out of the pit lane at the wrong time, and that will have lost him that time.
IIRL Shane now up into 8th place with the battle ahead of him between Prevenel and Smaller Smiley. He's going to have to come in and make another pit stop. This is all going to help him in the long run. As you see Mr. Wiggles up in front with that guy. He goes to the inside, he's going for it.
Oh, and he got a 3-second time penalty for it. Oh, that's going to be crucial for his race. Oh, and he nearly spins there as well, but very good catch there by him. Towards the end of the pit lane, and that guy is coming down the pit straight.
That guy's going to do it.
And he is in front, but will he be in front of Mr. Wiggles? And I think he has just got it. He has just got it. And that guy has just got a 3-second time penalty.
He spun!
He spun. And the 10-10 is now into the lead. And the driver behind is Mr. Wiggles with 6-second penalty.
We have a battle for the lead between the Mercedes and the Williams, but it's kind of a Pyrrhic victory for the Mercedes because he's still got 6 seconds worth of penalties. So Wiggles goes into the lead. And all 10-10 needs to do now is just stay within 6 seconds of Mr. Wiggles.
The ERS that he needs. He just needs to keep it tidy, and this is a win going to 10-10. And I don't think we have seen a win from 10-10 in IIRL yet. And they have only 3 temps now, 4 temps just on the exit. What will 10-10 do then going into the chicane? He has obviously got the DRS coming up to Mr. Wiggles. What will he do? He has a bit of a straight line speed advantage. It looks like he's going to go for the move into the chicane. He does, to the
side.
And gets the move done into P1 for 10-10, and he does have the fresher tyres like we were saying earlier compared
10 rather comes across the finish line
through the final couple of corners now. As we said earlier, all the troubles that 10-10 had last season with getting used to the new wheel. It comes round the penultimate corner and into the final corner now. It has been an absolutely superb drive from 10-10. He's 51st race in the league, and he comes across the line to win the French Grand Prix. And what a drive by 10-10. He couldn't be any more happy with that. Joseph Hales in the Alpine does get P2. That guy coming on to make it a double Williams podium in P3. Mr. Wiggles with them penalties dropping down to P4. Deflated Wee does get P5 from Smaller Smiley and Prev. And John just gets Prev on penalties. Flew comes home in P9 in his home race. Hits it in P10.
And just kept us in trouble. I think it's certainly my candidate for driver of the day.
Double Williams podium then, and an Alpine on the podium at the French Grand Prix is what you like to see.
It's on the French Grand Prix.
For the time being anyway.
I think shout out at least to driver of the day, to shout out for Mr. Wiggles today for a brilliant drive, and out in the Alpine to get onto the podium with everyone's penalties. Wiggles up from 15th to 4th, brilliant stuff. That guy, very consistent race. Shame about his mistake, but you know, sadly, it's the way it goes. That's racing sometimes, and yeah, I have to say, brilliant French Grand Prix. Route 3 done.
So it is 10-10 who wins the French Grand Prix. Joseph Hales coming on in P2. That guy P3.
As we see 5 lights coming on. They're gone out. It's lights out and away we go. And it's not a bad start from TD, but Joseph Hales already takes the lead in the Alpine. Oh, there's contact. John is round, and Oh, that's such a shame. Last week's race winner has made contact with John. Once again,
and
another
Tamino's
Ferrari's
round.
made contact behind. That's Tamino as well. So we got two of the big qualifiers today, and they are... Oh, that's such a shame for them. But sadly, first lap collisions do happen in Formula One, and sadly, it has happened for two of our top qualifiers this particular round. Has made an absolutely blistering start. And IIRL J behind 1010 in fourth place in the Red Bull. Oh, look at that.
IIRL getting past her on the outside of 1010 there. Oh, and
but he's
IIRL
lost it.
spins! Oh, and 1010 spins!
And now 1010's lost it.
They both just span on the exit of the same corner. And that is IIRL down to 12th, and 1010 not losing quite as many, going down to 8th place. And that is quite unusual for them two, from this season anyway. You don't really see them both spinning at one corner, but...
The Alpine can do very little to defend. He sensibly doesn't fight him too much there. We'll get a second bite of the cherry when DRS is activated again for the next sector. But with that, Mr. Wiggles for now gets himself into the lead in the Mercedes. Flashing behind in the Alpine. Can he defend this? He goes round to the outside, forces him to do the switchback. But oh, that's another brilliant exit there. It looks like the Haas will have him fully checked off. Lovely bit of tactical driving there from Deflated Wee, and he's got the move done way before they go over to the corner. The Haas up to second.
Lovely stuff there from Deflated. Up to second now from 80's starting place in 8th, and I'll be chasing down that Mercedes and go. Demon says, come on the Scots. I'm sure he's liking this race. 6th and 7th so far for the Scots.
You can take my position, but you'll never take my freedom. And Richie M looks like to have a moment in his Haas as we see the battle heating up between these two for 6th place. The Scottish Civil War across the back straight in Abu Dhabi. Let's see how the Williams fares against the Aston Martin in a straight line. DRS is open.
Tintin is gaining, but not too much at the minute.
Yeah, he just needs to keep it clean as Hissy goes wide, and that is going to set up Williams brilliantly
vulnerable
for an overtake.
He already goes to the right to defend, making sure 1010 don't get the slipstream. 1010 then going to the inside. Oh, guess he could just be making it an easy overtake there for 1010.
Yeah, I think it was almost like Hissy kind of let him through there.
Possibly just sensible driving, just trying to have his own race. Being the sensible driver that he is. Oh, and 1010 spun. 1010's just spun.
And we've got Williams down.
Well, I think we've got a safety car, because 1010 hasn't got a front wing. We've got a VSC, and I think we're going to see a lot of pit stops here. Wiggles
early,
in.
Early people coming
Deflated
in. So Wiggles is in. Deflated Wee is in. Joseph stays out.
Ross comes in. Hits it in. 1010 obviously going to be in.
Heated between Deflated Wee and Mr. Wiggles. 4 tenths between them now. Third, fourth, fifth covered by just over a second. Trev sitting comfortably in 6th. Let's see what 1010 can do to catch him in 7th. He's on medium tyres, so it'll be a little bit faster. Here comes the Red Bull down into the next hole. The Alpine protects his inside line, which is brilliant. However, that's going to set him out, well, the Red Bull out very nicely coming across the back straight, and that is the exit that IIRL needs if he wants to make that overtake work. Hissy goes round. It looks like he's made a bit of a mistake there as the Red Bull goes round the outside towards the outside of the left-hand corner. And, oh, that is so close there. Almost like synchronized swimmers. And
that is absolutely beautiful. What a move.
That is move of the race. Move of the race.
That is brilliant from IIRL, and that gets him up into that podium position that he would be absolutely loving.
That's absolutely insane. What an overtake that was. You love to see it.
Wow. Flabbergasted.
See an overtake coming into the next straight. As you see the gap up front, it's still 0.3 of a second between IIRL and Joseph Hales. The others again in sector 3. That, I believe, is Damon.
Tim, saying that if Pev carries on going wide, someone could report him for gaining an advantage, quite possibly. Pev just needs to be
Exactly, so that's why
careful.
he's... Oh, oh no, that's such a shame. The contact there between and the Red Bull and the Alpine. It's such a shame because they were keeping it so clean up at that point. But sadly for Joseph Hales, I think there may be maybe an incident report to the stewards there. Yeah.
Strong drive for Mr. Wiggles, going under the hotel section then, and this is going to be his first win of the season, I think. I don't think he won
And crucially, 10-10 is behind John. Sorry to interrupt. As Wiggles comes across the line.
And he is going to take the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix across the line to take the win in Abu Dhabi. Deflated Wee coming home in P2, a very strong race from Deflated. Joseph Hales is going to finish in front of IIRL, but maybe going to be in a little bit of bother with the stewards. IIRL P4 for the time being. He's here with a brilliant race in P6. Prev with also an extremely solid race coming home in P6. John P7 then, getting past 10-10 on the last lap after having a spin. That guy P9 just behind his teammate by a few, coming home in the last points position, and Tamino finishing however many laps down. That is a lovely patch, a lovely spin over the line there. The Mercedes was... it's some very interesting dance moves. I don't quite know what that was, but we'll let it slide. Coming over in P1, IIRL P4 with another solid drive from IIRL, as we know. He is probably one of the most consistent drivers in the race. And I will try and do some quick calculations for you all now while we have a look at this. Mr. Wiggles will now be only 4 points, 3 points behind Miss 10-10. Now only a point behind 10-10. That guy losing a little bit of what's the word? A bit of ground. That's it. And we have 5 lights in Belgium, and they go out very quickly. And the Haas of Deflated Wee has got an absolutely brilliant start, and he is already into the lead into turn 1. And he is ahead of Wiggles and John. We look to be keeping it clean so far through the pack. Going through into Eau Rouge and Radion then. Everyone keeping it very clean so far. No spins going up fast. Left and right. Flew and destined to going side by side, as well as Joseph and Mr. Wiggles. Joseph having a stonking start up into P2 now nearly. Going side by side with Mr. Wiggles. But
no issue. Oh, big crash! Out of Stavilo!
Oh dear, that's 5 cars involved there. And I imagine that'll be a safety car.
Full safety car.
Yeah. And that is Kaluchi, that guy, Kimmit, Padge and Flew. It's going through the chicane. A solid restart, has a bit of a gap to John. But he's, I wouldn't say extremely comfortable. John running a little bit wide there. Could give the opportunity to 10-10 going down into Lacombe if 10-10 has a good run. As we have Joseph getting past Longson.
Longson struggling to fire up those hards. Deflated we got past on the main straight.
Temperatures, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they are still cold. Going in.
Comes Joseph.
And he is going side by side now. Oh, a bit off the track there. We're keeping it side by side. Oh, this is very good racing so far from these two. Joseph on the mediums, Deflated on the hards, Deflated on the inside, Joseph around the outside. into no name now. We're still side by side, and this is
Oh my
this is
word.
brilliant. This is brilliant to watch.
We
Going
has to
into
back off here.
P1.
Yeah,
Yeah, and as you say, we backs off, and Joseph
there's
gets a
no
move
way you're
done.
going side by side.
Then opening the DRS then. Going to the inside of John. Perry Jerry also following him through, and that is John down 2 places. 10-10 up to second, Perry Jerry up to third. John down to 4th. This is going to be very scary indeed. Side by side with deflated through Blanchimon. Oh, but keep it on the track. And these two are giving a right entertaining race, and deflated getting in back in front of Joseph Hales. And that was another lovely overtake from these two.
Yep, Joseph had to lift through Blanchimont. If you're wondering, did they go flat out? No, they didn't. They had to lift off.
Mistake, and they go side by side again. Joseph being very aggressive, but nothing too wrong in it. And Joseph gets back past deflated, and they're going side by side once again. And could they go side by side into Blanchimon once again? And it looks like they are. Deflated on the inside.
Oh, contact!
Contact! And Joseph's out! Oh no! And I think that might be a full safety car. It is. Oh, that was. Oh, that is really unfortunate. And so they were both having a brilliant race. It's a safety car. And they are all coming into it. Oh!
Ooh.
And that could be crucial.
That could be win deciding.
Exactly. Mr. Wiggles, 5-second penalty. Speeding in the pit lane.
Double stack at Mercedes too. Prev just losing a tiny bit of speed into the pit box, but not too.
Mr. Wiggles opening the DRS, going to the outside. Oh, very close to making contact from the back of that Williams there. And he does get back in front. So, Mr. Wiggles, maybe you could say we're pulling tactics there to get DRS, but small Smiler in right behind Prev. Oh, and we've got a safety car.
Debris maybe?
I think
just
it was
pitted
Padge going
on the-
into the pits. I think he might have crashed going into the pit lane, because he hasn't
Yeah,
got a
no
front
front
wing
wing
now.
at all.
A 3-lap shootout, and he has gone. And he has got a good restart on John.
That's a
John
really
has been
good
caught
restart.
napping, and he has got a really good restart. Mr. Wiggles already trying to get past that guy, but he can't go for it yet until the finish line. But that is a brilliant restart for 10-10. We have a yellow flag. Kimi has gone for a spin through Blanchimont. And Mr. Wiggles now going for the move on that guy, going into turn 1. He's side by side, and we'll be wanting to get this move done as quickly as possible to get on that podium spot. Goes down the inside, deflated, trying to follow him as well. And that is the move done for Mr. Wiggles, and he'll be wanting to try and catch up to Smaller and Prev. Lovely stuff there by Mr. Wiggles, and deflated Wee is right behind that guy as well. Slightly there, and they're going side by side into P1 with St. Joseph and deflated do it. These two are going for even further around the corner.
Oh,
Deflated Smaller Filer keeping it around the outside, and deflated and that guy side by side.
Oh, he's gone
Mr.
wide.
Wiggles keeping it around the outside. Deflated off the track.
Oh,
And
tag
he's
slapper.
he gets a tag flap and he's falling down even more now. Greg goes past. Flu's trying to get past deflated around the outside of Stavelo. Can't get the move done, but deflated is losing more places, and he still doesn't what he wanted to do. He wanted to go forwards. Mr. Wiggles right behind his teammate now, going into P3, and he'll be wanting to get this to try and catch up to John. He's only 2.5 seconds behind John. He has got the faster tyres, and he's going side by side now with Prev going into turn 1. Prev getting very close to his teammate, but I think Prev being a very sporting teammate, letting his teammate go through, and going down into Lecombe now. He can't get the move done. Oh, Greg! He's just span at Lecombe, and he's hit the wall, and I think that might be damage for Greg. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Greg. That could have been a very good points position for Greg, and I'm sure he'll be annoyed with himself. Oh, and he just goes for another spin there. A brilliant finish with Mr. Wiggles getting past John. He's only 3 tenths behind now. We're going to be deploying all the ERS going down to the bus stop chicane. The gap is only 2 tenths of a second, 3 tenths now. But it is going to be 10-10 who's going to win this race, it looks like. But who will finish P2? The gap is only 2 tenths of a second. Can Mr. Wiggles go for a move on the inside or the outside of John? It looks to try and go around the outside. John. Good defence there, but it's going to be a drag race. Oh, Mr. Wiggles with a big tag slapper. And I think that's going to be it. And John keeps it in P2. But it is 10-10 who gets the race win. John P2. Mr. Wiggles P3. Deflated getting P4. That guy P5. Prez P6. Smaller P7. Flu P8. Colucci P9. Perideri P10.
Would have finished third anyway, but potentially losing 10 points in the championship, but got a £20 Amazon gift card.
10-10 then extended his championship to the other 2 people on the podium. Extended his gap to Mr. Wills to 16 points, I think, and to 8 points to John. The 30 coming over in P4, that guy P5, who will get points for Williams, not the red. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights in Imola, and they are out very, very quickly. And 10-10 has got another good start. And John is trying to get alongside him once again. 10-10 then looks to be in the lead going into turn 1. John looks to be inside of 10-10 again. We're quite going to get the moves on. Wiggles is off, and he's going to be losing places. Oh, and it looks like the Mercedes is also around in the background. John is up into P2. Tamino's into P3. Joseph is into P4 and deflated into P5. And
Joseph won't get Lewis Hamilton.
Hopefully not, no. Hopefully not.
No. See, a lot of people starting on the hard tyres at the moment, but that was a horrible start for Mr. Wiggles, who was sent off into the gravel there. And look at the lead that 10-10 has built already. Usually the habit is when everyone uses energy, they use it a lot of it in their first two laps to try and build
Joseph side by side. Irish J down the inside. Very good overtake there. Lovely move by Irish J.
Very good move.
And we've seen a couple of good moves by Irish J this season, and he's adding that to his collection.
Side of the Haas, but
Joseph and Irish J. Oh, Irish J's on the curbs. Deflated Weech trying to come through. Mr. Wiggles has a big snap. Deflated going through on Irish J. Joseph Hales has got through. Deflated around the outside. Oh, Irish J's on the gravel.
Irish J's off.
And that is tutted Irish J down to 8th place, and he's lost out on 4 positions there.
That was close racing, especially on the third lap of all times. You'd think it's the last few, but mind for some reason. But in any case, over the outside goes
didn't you? Oh, deflate! Big wiggle there. Now
Wiggles is
off. And Wiggles is down to P7 now.
Lost even more time. No, these guys are giving us a great show.
Snap of oversteer, and that gives a chance to Joseph, but Tamino has spun.
Tamino's gone off.
Out of the
he's round again.
And he's round again. And he's down to P10. This is the deflated wee train.
All aboard.
And the top 2 are just running away from this. With all these battling, this is amazing for the top 2, and especially seeing as over the top 2 in the championship. We're going to be gaining points on Mr. Wiggles as Joseph Hales runs wide there in Aqua Minerale. That could give a chance to Top Gun. Goes down the inside, going into Variante Alta, and it gets the move done. And Joseph is off the track again, and Joseph is struggling in this race.
He's going to lose
Mr.
out to Wiggles.
Yeah, down the inside. He's got good straight line speed, does Joseph. Going down into Ravazza now. Can he get the move around the outside? No, he can't. Mr. Wiggles through. And Irish J looking down the inside into Ravazza too. That would have been another great move by Irish J.
What a move from Mr. Wiggles!
He's doing what Charles Leclerc did to Magnussen. Around the outside.
Oh, look at this!
Oh, what a move!
That is absolutely brilliant stuff, and now he's lost out to Joseph Hales.
This battle
is absolutely unreal. This is brilliant stuff.
This battle is absolutely brilliant. I
think
am
that's
loving this.
Oh, Joseph Abel spins!
Oh no!
Abel
Do you know
spins!
this?
I don't believe it! Oh, that's such a shame. But at least unlike last week, he's still in the race.
He's
Inters
gone on to
surely.
Inters already. That is very, very bold. Because I don't think it's wet enough yet. And
Irish
Diaz has
James
been
put on
disabled
mediums.
already.
So, it could be a blinder then from John.
Normally when
knows?
DRS is disabled, that means wet tyres are the right tyre. But for me, this track
It doesn't look wet out there, it's dry.
It doesn't look wet enough. So I think Tenta might be okay. But I think Top Gun
They're all coming in now, they're all coming in.
Top Gun is definitely going to be vulnerable to John. He was behind already, but I think he's definitely going to be vulnerable, and I think this game has kind of screwed over Irish. Oh, Top Gun 5 seconds in the pit lane there. And I think this game has kind of screwed Irish because I know that Irish didn't want to be on the mediums. He definitely wanted to be on the Inters. And yeah, I think he's gained a bit of time to 10-10, which he has.
Probably gained about a second, I think.
Yeah, but 10-10 staying out a lap longer hasn't affected him too much. Try for the move.
Just goes down the inside. Both guys are short on energy, and the Ferrari goes ahead.
He just broke so much later.
Lovely move.
I don't know. And he does look to be, and Flew looks to be vulnerable to that guy. Only a 10th.
This will be close.
Going into the first chicane. Flew manages to stay in front for the time being.
Blue goes wide.
Oh yeah. And that isn't going to be good if he wants to get P7. If Hissy can pull out a second in this last lap and a half, that gives Hissy the P7.
And just like that, it's... Oh, Hissy's made a mistake!
Oh, I tell you what.
What's that you were saying about commentators'
I
curse?
tell you what, if you can't believe commentators' curse is a thing now, it's happened 3 times in this race now.
I think with that, we should... this is the worst time to follow the leader through the last lap. But we're going to go on board with 10-10 for the last lap, because with all the mistakes happening across the field, this man has not put a foot wrong in what has been one of the trickiest races so far in this season. Comes down into Tosa as the rain starts to get even worse. Even if John made the earlier stop, he's pulled out another advantage over him as Owen Tamino goes off against a deflated Wii. But John threw everything he could at him, and looks like the Scot, with 10-second advantage, is going to claim a very healthy and commanding win. Demon says boo to us, and to be honest, not quite sure. Commentators' curses a lie, don't believe it. Williams comes round into the Ravazzas after the Charles Leclerc chicane.
So that's
He's been
he goes then.
faultless
So that's the
from
one.
pole position. So from pole position to lights out to the win, it's been a commanding drive from 10-10. Who wins the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix with a commanding advantage? John follows up behind in second place in the McLaren. He's done well to recover from was a hard qualifying. Top Gun claims third in the Aston Martin. It's a very consistent drive from him. Tamino, it looks like he's going to recover to fourth and spins over the line. With deflated Wii coming in fifth, Wiggles in sixth. He'll be ruining that mistake from himself at the start of this round where he lost so many places. And it looks like Richie coming across the back there. That guy comes across the line in seventh, but he'll lose out to Flew. who finished his 7th as a result. Hissi, as a result of his incident, comes across in 9th. And then we'll have Colucci not too far behind in 10th place, rounding up point scoring positions. So what do you think,
Podium
TD?
by accident. Actually, I didn't mean to skip the podium. I apologise, Padge. I will give it to 10-10, but I'll give Flew a close second.
Agreed.
Because Flew was just consistent the whole race, but no one could match this man, who gets another win and extends his championship lead. In the USA, they're held for a long time, but they are out now, and 10-10 looks to have had a solid start, but Tamino has had an even better start, and Deflated Wee's already up into P2, and 10-10 is losing even more positions. Mr. Wiggles goes down the inside, but 10-10 keeps it around the outside for the time being. But it's the start that Tamino wanted, and he's up into P1, Deflated P2, 10-10 P3. And it looks to be all clean for the time being, going through the S section. Everyone getting through very nicely, but D-Bomb has fallen down a lot of positions, so maybe a bit of a collision there through the first couple of corners. And poor traction at the minute, or poor turning, and Irish J is right on the back of him at the minute, and he's on at 0.3, and he's alongside now, and Deflated Wee is alongside Tamino. Deflated Wee goes down the inside and gets the move done to Deflated Wee on the medium tyres compared to Tamino on the hard tyres. So Deflated going for the different strategy, and the DRS over IIRL J, and that could definitely put him under a lot of pressure going down into turn 10, I think it is. Opening the DRS
He
in,
does.
probably using some ERS. The gap is 3 tenths, 2 tenths. Will he go down the inside? Just sticking behind for the time being. So playing a long game, I think 10-10 is. Saving 10-10's best opportunity so far.
He's got to get a good exit, though, out of this hairpin. And that's exactly what he's got.
Yeah, very nice exit. And this could be the opportunity for the Williams driver. He's got the ERS possibly deployed, the DRS, but he's just not gaining enough. And can't go for a move. Bit of a lock up there for the Red Bull. And going on to the hards. I imagine
Well,
anyway.
if there was any time to pit, this is it.
I imagine
It'll take a lap to warm up his tyres, but at least he'll be able to get an undercut when those tyres get to temperature.
Yep,
And it's
onto
a
the
good
hards.
stop there from the Haas. Let's see where he comes out. Is he going to get out ahead of the Alfa Romeo? That's getting quite close. He needs the clean air.
Just, but he's going to have cold tyres now, so he might be a bit vulnerable. Needs to be careful to keep it on the circuit here.
Well, he's got a sweeping set of corners to go. That's the place to get some heat into the tyres.
Wiggles? Mr. Wiggles has made a mistake. He's gone from P4 and he's now down to P6. So a big mistake there for Mercedes.
That's a shame.
Miles ahead of IIRL. Hard tyres going well for him, but as you said earlier, IIRL is on the mediums, and look at the undercut that Joseph's got. He's got ahead of IIRL and he was at the back of the train.
And that just shows how powerful the undercut is on this track, TD, because that lap getting the tyres ready is going to pull even more time.
Oh, and he's right in the back of Hissy, going around the outside. Oh, that is lovely.
Lovely.
Lovely move by Joseph.
Brilliant.
And he's now on the back of his teammate, so it'll be interesting to see what his teammate does here, whether he'll let him through. And he goes to the inside now, and I think that's Flew just letting him through. It's good teamwork.
Prev spins again. Stops. I mean, expect Deflated Weed to come out into the lead. Ferrari had to wait a little bit. Oh no, it was just a glitch. It was a bit of lag. My bad.
See how far he gets, and Joseph has jumped 10-10 as well. And Joseph is right on the back of TV8 Tonino here. That shows how powerful that undercut was. Tonino's going to have Cold tyres here. Could Joseph have an opportunity of getting into P2?
He's got to think more about defending against the Alpine, who is only 3/10 behind him. Lagging a little bit there, I have to say. I think most cars are struggling to get the exit there. Yeah, they may have just brought him the gap that he needs.
He's looking to the outside. Can he get the move done on the third wheel on the outside? Brakes really late. And they're going side by side.
He's got the inside now into this corner.
So we keeping it around the outside. So this gets a penalty. The free keeping it.
Down the inside. Can the Ferrari make it stick? No, he can't. He pushes him off the track. Oh, but he tries it. No, he's not. Tamino loses it and takes the Haas with him. Oh, that was such a shame. That has cost Deflated Wii any chance of a win, and I have to say, that is a massive, massive shame for the Haas, who up until that point did not put foot wrong. Tamino comes into the pit lane and retires the car. Joseph Hales goes wide.
He needs to be careful because he can't afford to get another penalty. If he gets another penalty, that is it over for him.
Yep. Joseph proving quite popular in the chat. This is the last lap. So it's Joseph Hales versus Iros J versus 1010. 1.2 seconds covers the top three. And with 6/10 now and a little bit warm, fresher tyres compared to the Alpine, Iros J could be in the
penalty. A bit wide there for Joseph.
That's going to bring them very much closer together.
Oh, and it's now 4/10 the gap. 3.5. What is it going to be going down into turn 10? Oh, Joseph's got a poor exit.
That is a terrible exit. There's a chance for the Red Bull now to go for the lead. He's got DRS. If there's any time he's got to go for it, he's got to go for it right now. Will we see what we saw in the esports race? He goes down cover. Oh! I don't believe it! Joseph Hales has been taken out by Iros J. I don't believe it! That is going to be a controversial win. Nonetheless, I don't believe what we are seeing as 1010 now retakes the lead. Absolutely manic stuff here before this final lap. Joseph Hales is now back with Mr. Wiggles, and as all the chaos folded out in front of him, 1010 has kept himself cool and comes round the final corner now, and in a dramatic turn of events, 1010 wins his 4th Grand Prix this year ahead of Iros J, and that guy, Wiggles takes P4, Joseph Hales in P5, and Deflated Wii comes across to take P6. It has to be said, I know Joseph Hales was lagging throughout that, but interesting to see what the stewards will think about that. So in one of the most controversial endings that we've seen to a race, 1010, after all the chaos in front, of course he's done it. TD loves his tea.
I haven't ate all day. So I deserve my tape. But anyway, somehow 1010 gets a win. ISJ in P2, but we will have to see what happens with the stewards for ISJ. That guy 3. Mr. Wiggles P4. Deflated Wii P5. Joseph, I'm gutted for him, but in P6.
So here we go, everyone. 5 red lights coming on for the Chinese Grand Prix. Lights out, and we are underway, and it looks like fairly even Steven start. Deflated Wii's got a brilliant start ahead of him in the Haas as they all go round into the first corner. Oh, and there's contact as well made from the Ferrari, and that's put TV8 Tamino down to the bottom. That guy as well has also been caught up in the Williams. So already some first corner troubles for some of the field. And straight away, Deflated Wii is getting away from all the carnage behind him. Wiggles up into 4th. 3 wide coming into turn 4. How's this going to go out?
Oh!
That's going to be so close, but they did well not to hit each other. And no, not quite. Everything. Most people starting on the hard compound tyre, so clearly this is going for a 2-stop race. Deflated Wheat ahead by 0.6 of a second from IIRL. 10 making contact on the first lap has put them both down to 14th and 17th respectively. Wiggles now 2/10 behind, and oh, John's lost it as well on the last corner.
And another drive's off. Fairly's off. Fairly's off as well.
They're dropping like stones so far this race. It's just been the first lap of carnage so far. And Yellow's coming out all the way, so it looked a bit slow, so I thought they might have thrown out a safety car. John and Fairley, though, had their work cut out for them yet again, as things are starting to stabilise somewhat. Oh, but Deflated Wheat has got a horrible exit coming out of the right-hander there, as we see IIRL going for the lead, and he's taking it. Nice bit of opportunist driving there for the Red Bull, who has now gone into the lead. There off Flew. Let's see if he's going to throw one down to the inside. He thinks about it. Oh, but the Alpine goes wide. Alfa Romeo's up the inside and it comes across. Long left-hander, the Alpine has the high ground. Outside.
Yeah, he can't.
But
he's keeping it. Oh, contact.
He has to back out and he just lost the car.
Slight contact. I can't say it's one of the driver's faults, but that's really a compromised smaller and down to 12th place.
In Flew. So it's not over yet for the Ferrari that, despite that first lap crash, is coming back ever so slightly towards the field. Kreb now 3 seconds behind the battle between the top 5 so far, which I have to say is looking very, very spicy indeed. Oh, that's a shame for the debutant in the Ferrari. It's that.
Yeah,
what's Kreb doing to defend? Is he going to throw it to the inside? Yes, he does.
A little bit wide, but nothing too bad about that, and that was coming up to 6th place.
That was a clean overtake, and at a time where he really needed, and with head depends on how he plays it. He's not going to go for it now.
I just noticed Deflated with a flashing red light.
IIRL made a mistake.
He held that very well.
He's dropping now to 4th, and that puts Deflated Wee into the lead.
Held it very well though, and he's still on the back of his train, so hasn't lost too much time. But we'll still definitely be annoyed. We'll have the overtake up into DRS.
He's not flashing either, but Deflated Wee as he goes round to the outside. Can he make it stick? It's across a tiny hairpin. Oh, and he looks like he's got the move done.
Very nice.
Even though, yeah, very, very nicely done. And now the championship leader takes the lead of this Grand Prix. 3/10 now. So, Deflated Wee goes a little bit wide. That could give the Mercedes an opportunity.
Oh, and he just about gets good traction to stay in the DRS as well. Oh, Mr. Wiggles.
And Wiggles comes in.
Now, this will be interesting. This is the start of the pit stops.
It's time. We are in pit stop heaven right now.
And where will Mr. Wiggles come out? Because he don't want to come out in any traffic if he wants to go for an undercut.
I think he might come out just behind the Mercedes and the AlphaTauri here. This may not be well placed.
He's out behind the AlphaTauri, but he has got about a 1.5 second gap, so I don't think he'll be affected too much. IIRL, both got DRS.
It's going to be a godsend for 10-10. He goes down to the inside. He should be able to make the move stick. Is it time for him now to come in?
Oh, the switch back from IIRL. Can't get it done.
Yeah, I think.
What will they do now? Oh, that was close.
Oh, the Red Bull goes in.
And 10-10
in as well.
I think they know that they are under pressure from Mr. Wiggles, who has got the move done on AMS fairly. So what will happen then compared to Wiggles?
Just looking at 10-10. He's held up in the pits. Oh no, I think it was a slight glitch.
Into turn 1 then. 10-10's coming out of the pits. Mr. Wiggles there. Mr. Wiggles around the outside.
He's done them.
He's done it, but can he keep it on the track? He has done. And Mr. Wiggles needs to get a good gap with these warm tyres compared to 1010, and that is Mr. Wiggles into a provisional P1.
Ahead of him, I'll tell you that for free.
He's long behind, and he's well behind IIRL as well. And that error that he made is costly.
Very costly. That's put him in a net 4th.
1.1 seconds between these two, and Mr. Wiggles is... Oh! And
what did I just say?
That is costly. That is costly. And IIRL is down the inside of him now. And gets the move. And that is 10-10 back into the lead. But who will have the DRS out of these two? It is Mr. Wiggles and IIRL, but both have it. So who will go into this hairpin in the lead? It'll be IIRL keeping it.
Fastest lap from deflated wheel now, and then just
10-10.
before.
There we go.
So yeah, he's on the mediums now. Deflated wheel passes Wiggles. Wiggles is not enjoying those medium tyres, is he?
Oh. Flew keeping it on the outside. Very nice from Flew.
So it's not over yet though. Looks like the AlphaTauri is still in it. They're going wheel to wheel coming down into turn 4. The AlphaTauri sticks it down to the inside and makes the move stick.
Good driving there. Very nice.
John now into 10th. Fairly in 9th. Oh no, with deflated wheel has lost it! He spins out that last corner, then nails him down in 3rd place. Music to IIRL's ears. Yeah, I'm going to blame you for that one. So we're going to go on board with the race leader. We might be, I don't know if we're able to... Actually, no. Able's not the right word. Yellow in sector 1, and that's the AlphaTauri going for another spin. That's fairly. That's going to bring up John into 9th. Has to put a foot... Yeah.
Hasn't put a foot wrong really, has he?
No, he's been absolutely perfect. While everyone else, the curse isn't an active thing. You don't choose it. Very true. But anywho, we're going to go on board with the Williams, who is so far going to ratchet up his 5th win of the season and his 4th on the trot.
And that's a record as well. No one in IIRL has done 4 in a row.
So here we have the Scottish Max Verstappen of this tier is coming through the final corner now, and while everybody else around him crumbled, the same story, this man did not put a foot wrong. 10-10 comes across the line to win the Chinese Grand Prix and take another commanding step towards the championship. IIRL comes through in 2nd place, Deflated Wee comes through in 3rd. Mr. Wiggles in 4th, and that guy, very quiet and strong race to come through in 5th.
Good recovery really after the start lap.
Absolutely, definitely the best recovery of the race. Underrated drive from Prev to finish the race in 6th. Yellow in sector 2, so it looks like Deton's made a mistake in this Red Bull. Smiley takes 7th.
Donjon gets 8th. Literally Tamino on the line. He just broke on the line.
He just broke on stream.
He's been unlucky this season. And that's the IIRL that we know. Deflated in P3. Mr. Wiggles in P4. That guy P5. Trev coming home in P6, very solid. Small Smiley in P7. John P8. Tamino in P9. And Flew getting the last point just from AMS Andrew Fairley. And we had no DNFs. Let's see. We don't like to see anyone DNFing.
I only just realised that. Good
yeah,
spot.
I only just noticed it. It's good to see.
Head of the drivers. And the Miami race is underway. Looks a pretty even start there for Mr. Wiggles as he comes across. But Deflated Wee has made a brilliant start in his Haas and is almost up into second now. That guy's done brilliantly to get up into fourth. And Joseph Hales into fifth. Iros J down to sixth. Flu has done a brilliant start as well, coming alongside Tamino. So it's all changing up so far, and it looks like much tidier start than what we saw last time out in the sprint. However, the Williams is all over the place with that guy. As soon as I say that, it gets very bunched up coming across the long left-hander. Almost contact there between the Alpine and the Red Bull as he's ahead of the Alpine. But look what is going to happen here. Oh, it looks like everyone's holding on relatively fine. Flu still holding on against the Ferrari, but he's not backing out with this. Is he going to be able to hold on from TV8 as it comes across into the chicane? No, but he's cut across. He's going to have to hand that position back, and he does. And he's lost. Once again, another awkward chicane. Not the best exit from the Williams.
I need to get even more points for Williams' title fight.
Time penalty for Peb.
For who?
Prev Renata. Prev.
I've never heard that name before. I was
looking at Sun God's message and I got my tongue tied a little bit. So, but Iris J now makes the move on that guy. So the Red Bull now up into fourth place. Yellow's in sector 2.
Wiggles!
And it's Wiggles!
Wiggles making a very costly error there. And that is him.
10-10 in the lead. 10-10 still in second, so Deflated Wee's
Maybe
got into the lead, so I wonder whether...
I didn't actually see it because I was looking at the chat.
Yeah. Doesn't look like any damage for the Williams.
Well, Demon's just put 10-10. So I think there might have been contact. Yeah, 10-10
gave Wiggles a nudge.
There we go. And I'm sure them two in a party together, they won't be very happy with each other at the minute.
I think that party will be quite silent anyway, looking at how much everyone's concentrating at the moment. Between third and sixth, so close. Ow, that guy spins.
I think Mr. Wiggles just went into the back of that guy then. And I think it's just...
Oh dear.
Oh, it could have been that guy going into RSJ, I think.
It's getting a little bit untidy.
But as RSJ up into the podium now, but Tamino's right in the back of him as well.
Iros 10-10's going for the lead.
Two moves.
Throws it down the inside.
Tamino gets a move. Oh, and 10-10 nearly spins there.
Deflated Wee has got DRS coming back at 10-10. He's going to try around the outside. 10-10 loses out, so Deflated Wee has the lead. And I have to say, TV8 Tamino back up into third. Solid recovery considering he started last in the sprint. Looks like he's got the time differential to do it. Is he going to throw it down the inside? Yes, he is.
So he goes for a switchback.
What a lovely switchback.
Oh, that is lovely from Deflated. Can he get a straight line speed though? 10-10 looks to have it. Deflated Wee with
He's got the inside covered. No.
Just can't get the straight line speed, it looks like. It's maybe a bit more downforce for the Haas driver. Oh, Mr. Wiggles. Another mistake. He's gone straight on.
He's lost his front wing.
He's gone straight on.
And that's far from ideal for some.
And I imagine, his wheel died.
His wheels died.
Yeah.
Wait, to be fair, the F1 race directors would be just as bad. So, and Deflated Wee goes wide.
Oh dear.
He's gone wide.
And he's hit the barrier. That could be damage as well.
That puts the Ferrari up into second place.
Oh yeah.
I imagine. Deflated Wee is just coming round the final sector now. Smaller Smiley has done the fastest lap, and Deaton has had another moment in the Red Bull. Once again, just not quite going his way. That guy pits as well and comes out just in front of Joseph Hales.
Yeah, he's got quite quite a bit there. There's
Yeah,
7
got to
tenths, and then he's
just
got the
ahead.
warm tyres as well.
His tyres.
Really
Yeah.
pushing.
Yeah, well, this is the time to do it. Oh, and the
Oh!
Rivals J goes round.
And we just saw him there, turn
And-
2, and it's easily done on this track.
And that's probably gonna kill his chances of getting a podium now. Like he'll make the move on the Aston stick relatively quickly. Yep, and there he goes, almost like candy from a baby there.
Oh, and he's locked up. Go straight on. And Smiley is also spun. And what's going to be crucial is whether he can get in front of Deflated Wee, really. Because the gap was 70.7. And that's going to be very close with Deflated Wee, whether he can get in front. Because if he can't get in front, he's going to get held.
I don't think he's going to do it. It's going to be so close.
And I think Deflated's going to be in front here.
Oh, it's going to be side by side.
He is.
But the Haas is out on front.
And this is going to be costly for Tamino if he can't get by. Of his chances of winning this race.
Almost knows there's very little he can do.
Kinda.
Goes to the inside to defend. Fro goes to the outside. And let's see what the Ferrari does. It looks like he's got the move covered. Let's go a little bit wide during that exit.
I think Deflated knows this isn't his fight.
Yeah. Now this first sector, that's really where Tamino makes up the time.
Oh, that guy looked down the inside then. Could give him an opportunity to go for the move on smaller Siley. Goes to the inside. Flashing red light. Smaller brakes later than the Williams. Goes around the outside.
That is so close.
Oh, that's very tight. Oh, that's good defence by Smaller there. Very good defence.
Oh, but it made contact.
Oh, that's really unfortunate for Smaller.
So that's definitely a penalty coming that guy's way. Has to be said.
And assuming 10-10 gets only a 5-second penalty, this is 10-10 once again.
Joseph Hales gets the fastest lap. Yellow's in sector 1 as well, which I think Greg is just trying to stay out of people's way.
Goes for a little spin. Yeah, Tamino's tyres have just... They've just died now. He's got...
It was a valiant effort from Tamino, and she had to try something different to try and make something work. But once again, even though there might be a little bit of contact and additional penalty coming his way, once again, it's going to be another brilliant result for the Scotsman of 10-10, who comes through the final DRS zone right now, and is currently on his way to take his 6th win of the season, his 5th on the trot, as his lead on the drivers' standings continues to grow. Once more, it's been the same old story. No one could touch him today. 10-10 comes over the line to win the Miami Grand Prix.
Oh, Tamino spun!
No, I don't believe it! But he's going to stay ahead.
He's going to lose out. He's lost out to Deflated, but he's going to get it on penalties.
John gets on the podium.
That's costly.
I thought that was costly.
5 or 10 seconds, if whatever 10-10 gets, he's going to keep the race win.
Yeah, I think he'll be safe. He's safe, so... Blue comes over the line and takes 7th. Solid result for him, beating that guy in the Williams. And Longston, who we haven't mentioned too much so far in this race, is coming across the line, coming to the final corner right now, rather.
I don't even know if it's working, but... I,
Oh,
it's actually unbelievable. Does. But yeah, 10-10 in first. Tamina with probably one of the most costly errors ever in second. John in third.
out and away we go, and Wiggles is just ahead so far in the Mercedes, so it looks like a fairly even start. Deflated Wee's had a good one himself in the Haas, and the top three lead as they are, with Smaller Smiley dropping down into 5th position and Ross J coming into 6th. 10-10 is in 7th place, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th pretty much stay as they are, with Deton making up 2 places himself. And oh, it looks like a little bit of contact there between Iros J and 10-10. As you know, Iros J and TD, which is a bit of a shame. However, looks like everyone is getting around the first lap, all things considered. Second, Deflated Wee third. That guy is in 4th, with Smaller Smiley in 5th. Flu 6th, Iros J 7th, Prev is in 8th. And oh, and what's happened to 10-10? And 10-10's had a moment, he's spun. 10-10 has dropped down to 8th position here. And well, he's certainly one of the fastest drivers. I've no doubt he'll make that place up. But so it's like these are where the battles are at. And 10-10 is up against Prev. And oh, a little bit of contact there. I think awkward there. Might have just been a slight, misunderstanding between everyone. The Williams is about 10 laps now. He's gonna throw it down to the inside. Oh, and that is very, very close racing there. And Iros J is doing very well to defend against 10-10, who's had very much of this season on lockdown, so it doesn't look like it will be one where he'll be extending his streak of wins. However, it's great to see Iros J fighting him as closely as he has. That 10-10 was looking for. With DRS, it doesn't look like much. They've got much in terms of energy. What's he going to do? The Williams throws it down to the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact there. But 10-10 looks like he's got the move done. So that's the Williams recovered now up into 5th. So easy to make mistakes on this track. And speaking of which, that guy's made a massive one. What has happened here? Has he got damage? Has the Williams got damage? No, he hasn't. But crucially, Smaller Smiley is ahead. And there in Smaller Smiley's made a mistake. And that, crucially, puts 10-10 up into 3rd. So it's all coming back to the championship leader. So 10-10 has just got his teammate up in front. And this is quite crucial because he's 13 or so seconds back. Both of them are on hard. So you have to think that Wiggles has got this race more or less, nailed down. Now this is it. This is the point where he's got to overtake. And it doesn't look like his teammate's going to offer much of a resistance. He almost gets out of the way there. And there we have 10-10 now up into 2nd place. Oh no, Prev goes off. He overshoots his braking. And Prev NL has gone off into the escape road in his Mercedes. Thankfully, though, he's still in the race and still in contention for some healthy points. Like that, it has started to rain. So those who have stayed out on the hard tyre, namely the top 6, are going to benefit so much more here. Now, it all just depends how quickly this track dampens. What's happened to that guy? Looks like that guy is crashed up. Yeah, that's why there's a safety car. That guy's crashed out in his Williams. It's going to compromise Mr. Wiggles massively here. That is going to absolutely change this race. For Mr. Wiggles, he's just got to keep it tidy. Is he going to full wets? Well, they'll have a 5-second penalty, but he's got another set of inters. Oh, he's got to change his front wing. That's crucial. This could drop him behind Prev. So he's got... That's very interesting. He's the only driver so far to go on full wets. It's Asperfrog and Deton struggling between them. I mean, he's catching up right in the moment. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Iros J and Smaller Smiley. Everyone just needs to be a little bit patient here, as Deflated Weed puts himself up into 3rd place. As a result, everyone virtually knows to tell. You can see how much everybody's sliding around here, just trying desperately not to overshoot any corners or lose any grip. And, oh, look at that. That rain is looking quite torrential now. Blinder here. It's 10-10 versus Flu. And 10-10 back up into 6th with only 3 seconds of penalties. TD could have played an absolute blinder here. Oh, and the Red Bull goes wide. It's gained 2 seconds on Flu. Oh, you barely get the car stopped. Oh, but... Oh, and Iros J sadly put it in the wall. I think the track, to be honest, was too wet to avoid a collision there. I think it was always going to happen. But the leaders now have got to come in for wet tyres, surely. Yellow's in Sector 3 as Iros J loses it again. And then 10 onto full wets. Forever's onto full wets as well. The Red Bull of Iros J has sadly retired. If this rain doesn't ease up, and it doesn't look like it will, TD has got this race. Frankly, I can't believe I'm saying this given his start, but this just goes to show why you never ever give up. As TD, with so much more grip, goes through into 2nd. So much time just in 1 lap. Those inters are not working. TD's played an absolute blinder here, and it's not going to be much of a competition. The Mercedes just does not have the grip to defend. And there we have it, folks. We have the McLaren of TD in the lead. As Mr. Wiggles struggles to exit the corner, he just needs to build and maintain a gap, and he should be safe. In seconds, and the safety car is out again. Oh, that could ruin everything for TD, and that will bring Wiggles and Deflated back into contention. But oh, 10-10 has lost it. 10-10 has lost it before the safety car comes in. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. And that has really put Wiggles in the pound seat for the lead. Very rare mistake there from the Scots. The little YB has dropped the rest of the field. Oh, and Deton loses it. Thankfully, he goes and doesn't get in Wiggles' way. And it looks like TD has given up the lead. Looks like he's made a mistake, but TD has given up the lead. Mr. Wiggles now has lost out. And, oh, this is going to be crazy coming into this finish. I genuinely have no idea who's going to win this. But Smaller Smiley so far is in the lead. Mr. Wiggles is watching that lead run away from him right now. So he has got to pass TD as soon as he can. And TD struggling with that restart there in the podium. Wiggles is watching that lead disappear, and Wiggles has gone wide! He's lost the car! Mr. Wiggles has gone off, and he's dropped all the way down to 7th position. Wiggles looks like to have damaged his rear wing and has retired from the session. Unbelievable stuff here, as we see Mr. Wiggles, who had driven an absolutely flawless race right now, retire from the race. And that is going to be a godsend to 10-10 to stamp his authority once more on this World Championship. That will mean Deflated Wee Outball is going to get into 6th place. As 10-10 is fighting off Deflated Wee now. Looks like those inters are more or less helping. Oh, but look at the drive that he's getting. He's going to go up into 4th, but crucially, he's going to go up into 3rd now. Flu goes to overtake 10-10. Oh, no, but there's contact between him and Aston Martin. This is going to be an absolutely crazy finish. Absolutely bonkers. Flu is now in contention for the podium. As we go up to the leaders now. And the race has been absolutely bonkers so far. Smaller Smiley comes across the start-finish straight now. He wins the Singapore Grand Prix. 10-10 gets 2nd, I think. And Deflated Wee comes across to take the checkered flag. But it'll be Flu on the podium. 10-10 in 4th. Deflated Wheat is 6th, and Asthma Frog will end up in 6th. Wiggles will still be classified 7th due to Mr. Wiggles retiring on the lead lap. Deton, however, will take 4 points for 8th place in the Red Bull. And that brings an end to what has been an absolutely crazy race at the Singapore Grand Prix. It was all to play for in those last few laps. and crazy to commentate on. Another podium for Flu, who has made those inters work. God, that was carnage. Ugh. Both sad and happy. Absolutely bonkers race. Absolutely bonkers. And that brings an end to what has been a brilliant comeback for this season. We have at the end of round 10, we have Smaller Smiley finally breaking 10-10's consecutive streak. He wins with TD in second on his first race this season, so good start from TD. Flu finishes in third. 10-10 recover. Red lights coming on. Slapbusters on pole position. Oh, 10-10 looks to have an issue. It's lights.
10-10 drive-through.
He's got a drive-through for that issue. It's lights out and away we go. And what has happened there? Poor connectivity issues. I don't know what's going on, but the championship leader already in the wars for something that probably wasn't even his fault. Deflated Wee up into fourth now in the hash with Joseph Hales not too far alongside him. Wiggles has dropped down to sixth, but Deflated Wee has gone wide once again. And the Red Bull of D-Bomb is up into seventh with that guy up into eighth. Padge and Small Smiley have dropped down with Kimmy all the way back to 16th in the Ferrari. But 10-10, crucially, has a drive-through penalty, which I assume is connectivity issues.
10-10 into the pits.
So there we go. So that's 10-10 serving his drive-through penalty. I'm going to go on board with John, however. Slapbus covers the inside, and the McLaren is right with him. Looks like he's sticking round to the outside. But now with the inside and DRS, it looks like he'll have this move done. And with that, John looks like he's gone through right into the lead, but Slapbus is still fighting him. The AlphaTauri still comes out of the end of sector in the lead. So, it certainly won't be the last.
Oh, he's going to the inside.
There he goes. He's made the move stick. No, he hasn't. He just will not give it up. He has to, though. He knows he's got to go for it now, and he is going for it. He goes down to the inside. That is a very late move.
Oh, I thought contact was happening then.
I thought that was contact, but Kimmy's not giving this up. He'll have the inside line coming into the next corner. But he's backed out of it. With the Aston now, and they touch, and a little bit of contact there, and
he's round, I think.
Yeah, he's round. It's just 2 into 1. And Colucci's got near empty, just trying to straddle that line between us. What? And you're right, 10-10 is out. Just seeing it on the screen there, and what a surprise that is. And no surprise, I think is that a full safety car that's been deployed? Must be a full safety car.
It is.
And 10-10, the world championship leader, is out of the race.
And I tell you who this benefits massively, John.
Oh yeah, now
he
it
can
does.
Put on some hard tyres and get to the end now.
He'll lose less time than others. Slapbus has come in. Everyone, all the top leaders are coming in. So they're going to have to go probably to a 2-stop.
They're going to have to go a long way on the mediums.
Yeah.
Oh my god, 10-10.
The top 2 have it all to do. They're more or less out of position. However, they've got some advantage in terms of tyre life. And Smaller Smarty wait until the absolute last minute before he drops it. And he's dropped it as such.
Wiggles going for it on John.
John could be boxed in here. He goes round, and nobody overtakes the Alpine and gets himself up into second position.
Oh, Wiggles close.
That's very, very close. In yellow's in sector 1, and that's Greg that's gone off in his car. However, John right up with Smaller Smiley, and it looks like the McLaren might be going for a move almost around down there on the outside of the end of sector 1. But so close going down into the first corner. John's going for the inside look. But Wiggles is going to try to overtake the pair of them. No, he's not. John goes into the lead. A little bit of a touch there between the Mercedes and the McLaren. The Alfa Romeo sticks to the inside and that Wiggles nowhere to go. And John doing absolutely what he needs to do. A little bit of contact there. You're right. And Mr. Swarsman, he's gone round. Oh dear. And he already had a hard enough act to do. And now Smaller Smiley has dropped all the way to the back after that tangle with Mr. Wiggles. And DRS has been enabled. John has seen Mr. Wiggles coming. He goes down to the inside. He goes for the lead. And looks like Wiggles has got it. Very, very nice indeed. But hopefully John may be able to get a run back on him coming up through into the next corner. Joseph Hales right behind John in the McLaren. Oh, like the absolute clappers. Oh, Wiggles is round.
Oh, dear.
Dear, oh dear. Now, you know what I was saying about the championship? That's changed in a heartbeat. But speaking of unfortunate...
again, to be honest.
And Slapbus goes into second. Terrible exit there from...
Oh, John's going for it again. Doesn't have the speed.
I thought they were going to touch there. I could just imagine that Alpine just going right into the back of that AlphaTauri. Oh, he's made it stick. Lovely. It's not going to potentially do a move down here, but it may be down. It lets them know he's there. Oh, and he's round.
Contact.
Oh dear. And oh,
he's in the lead.
He is in the lead. So apologies for missing that, but John's retired, and now. Oh, that's going to be so close. Is the AlphaTauri going to go for a move down the inside? No, he's not. Deflated Wheat gets another time penalty. But John... Oh, it's very hard to call that one, but I... It's Deflated Wheat now up into 8th. But he's got to get an absolute move on now if he wants to salvage anything from his race. Red Bull. He's kind of gone a little bit under the radar this race, but considering I think this is his first time with us, supremely consistent. He's only about 3.5 seconds off the lead, and I have to say, a very strong drive so far from D-Bomb.
He's at the deserving podium, I'd say.
Absolutely a deserved podium.
And the 3.4 seconds off the lead, and he qualified in P8, I think. From what I know, this is going to be Jersey's first NA win.
It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It has. It really has.
We know this guy has had a lot of pace, but he also has had his fair share of mistakes, which is why if he comes across the line to take the win, it will feel incredibly rewarding, especially to the people watching. And Deflated Wheat gets yet another time penalty. The DRS, and the McLaren's going to go for a move around the outside, potentially. No need to risk this one, but it's going to be so close up to here. This is for the final spot on the podium, but Georgia Bales and Slapbus have hit each other.
As well.
Yet again. John did not need to risk that one. And that is a gift to Slapbus. The order hasn't changed. But the most chaotic thing has happened not for the first step of the podium, but for the last step of the podium. But anywho, we are going to go on board now with the race winner, who has been absolutely flawless in terms of his craft. He got through to Q1 on hard tyres, so if that was an indication of how well he'd do, I'm not sure what was. Round the final 2 corners he comes. It's been a long time coming for the Alpine driver, who's given us a thrilling show from the lead. What an absolutely phenomenal drive by Joseph Hales, who takes his first win for the No Assist Racing tier. Wiggles gets into second. D-Bomb, a well-deserved podium for him in 3rd place. Slapbus making a strategy last while he could. Was a victim of a few shunts, but a well-deserved 4th place nonetheless. John, very unfortunate today. He could have won were it not for all of those time incidents. Plenty of penalties coming his way, but Smaller Smiley comes across the line to take 6th place. Deflated Wee with 12 seconds worth of penalties. Sadly, is not going to score points. He's going to drop all the way behind Kimmy, I feel, as he comes across the line. That guy goes into 7th, but he won't be classified. Greg finishes 8th. 9th will be Kimmy, and Deflated Wee will be 10th. However, it has to be said, resisted all the pressure that Wiggles threw at him, and it came across the line in terrific style. D-Bomb as well, well deserved on the podium. Same for Wiggles. I think it's a very well deserved podium. I think Hale's certainly one of my candidates for driver of the day. But we'll talk about that just after the podium, shall we? So let's go through the standings for the race. We have Joseph Hales, who takes his first win for the Alpine. Wiggles is 2nd in the Mercedes. D-Bomb 3rd in the Red Bull. AlphaTauri is 4th, thanks to Slapbus. John 5th. It's a shame for him because he could have potentially won this race. Smaller Smiley is in 6th. That guy was on AI, so I don't think he'll be classified. So that will promote Greg up into 7th. Kimmy in 8th. Deflated Wee in 9th, and Deton would take the final points in 10th if that is the case. Moving on ahead of the drivers. It's lights out and away we go. It looks like a good start from Wiggle so far at the moment. Deflated Wee's made a good one himself, getting ahead of the Williams of 1010. He hasn't had the best one himself. It's going to be a fast tow all the way down to the first corner. John goes to the inside ahead of Wiggles, and looks like he's got the inside going into the first corner. Wiggles are going to fight it around the outside, but the Mercedes holds on to the lead. And Deflated Wee looks like he's fighting John for 2nd place as well. Relatively strong start so far from the top two, as John loses out actually to Deflated Wee. He's had an absolutely mega start in the Haas, as Wiggles strikes out comfortably in the lead as 1010 falls down into 4th place. It looks like a little bit of a fight there between John and 1010 as the Scotsman refuses to give up. And John, who needs to get, that's had a shocking start. He's made contact and he's lost some positions, and already he's got the 3-second time penalty, as if that collision could not get any more on. As another time penalty comes, for this time for Damon, as Commence retires from the session, and that brings out I don't know whether it's a virtual or a full safety car, but Commence is retired, so I don't know whether there was there we see there the AlphaTauri in the back. Was there contact? DePales has had to box. He's now down to 15th. 1010 has chosen to go into hards now, so probably gonna run softs at the end. Not quite sure what's happening weather-wise for this race, but do anything about the Mercedes up front. He knows he's got a pretty good tow at the moment. Blue not too far from Prev. Let's see what they're doing behind as well. Blue goes round to the outside. Oh, that was very ballsy, has to be said, from the Alpine. But a little bit of contact there between the two, and they've kind of ruined their own laps there, and like they're going out of style. And there we go. 1010 plays a very ambitious move there on Flu. You don't often see overtaking over there, but once you saw it, it was absolutely brilliant. It has to be said. Richie now gets a time penalty. They are so close to Ferrari against the Red Bull. He's having a very good debut here, harassing TD in the Red Bull. Let's see. He should be able to overtake now coming into the next sector with DRS, but I think he's playing this quite sensibly, backing out as Hales goes for a move on 1010 and makes it work, but he goes wide. I think he'll have to give the place up. He'll have to allow the Williams back through, and he does so quite sensibly. Very fair racing there, and has to be said. He's off against Sano in the Ferrari, and looks like it's a fairly done move. There he goes down the inside. The championship leader goes up into 5th, but the Ferrari's not giving up. Unfortunately, he runs in wide there, so it looks like the Ferrari will have to concede. Now Joseph Hale sitting right behind the Williams. Is the Alpine going to attempt to move? No, he backs out of it there.
Williams, and put on another
10-10's
set
off.
of
10-10's off.
Wow, championship leader. Huge mistake.
From 10-10, the championship leader, who quite sensibly lets him go. Thinks there's no point in fighting that one. But hasn't been the tidiest race so far from the championship leader. He's probably looking at about 6th place. He probably needs a safety car to turn his fortunes around. As 10
someone got 18 seconds last season, so I think we've
found a
hit
new
PB.
record. Small Smiley goes into 3rd. So we're on about lap 28. We'll just run you through the top 10. So we have Mr. Wiggles leading very comfortably in the lead in 1st place. John sitting in 2nd with 6 seconds worth of time penalties. Ahead of Small Smiley, 12 seconds behind in 3rd. 1010 is currently 7/10 behind in 4th place, with Joseph Hales not too far behind in 5th. Richard 020 for the Ferrari is ahead of his Ferrari teammate, both debuting in 6th and 7th place. Flew currently sits 8th, with Greg sitting in 9th, and Prev is in the last points paying position in 10th place. Things aren't going to die down for is Joseph Hales. He could snatch potentially 3rd place here, which will be a decent recovery, all things considered. It'll obviously be left wanting depending on the collision. We'll go. Oh, and as I say that, he spins and hits the back end of his car. He could lose out to one of the Ferraris here.
Well, 2 Ferraris are battling.
Civil war going on the Maranello, but a little bit of contact there, it looks like, between Sano and Joe Hales. He gets out of the track. Oh! Well, they retained the position off the track there, so I don't know whether I have to get that up.
10, 15 lap hold, hard tyres, spinning all over the place, and well, he's going for the move down into the first corner, so he must be confident.
And gets another time penalty, sadly. Sano now goes ahead of Joseph Hales, who switches, but look at that switchback that Joseph Hales has just got there. Lovely bit of driving, overtakes him before the Ferrari could open DRS.
Yeah, beautiful move.
Very well defended, it has to be said.
As well.
Wow, as Sano goes round to the outside of Joseph Hales.
Steely, that is the comment of the day. That is fantastic.
And that from the Ferrari was probably one of the moves of the race. You see him pull
very
that
nice.
off against Joseph Hales. He keeps the DRS and he should have this covered. Very strong debut there from Sano.
Well, if there's one thing that Joseph Hales is extremely good at in this league, it is being very good at overtaking and defending.
Goes a little bit wide there as... Oh, and it looks like he's lost the back end. He's lost out to the other Ferrari now. Strong drives, has to be said, from both of the Ferraris, where Joseph Hales is getting a little bit too much out of shape.
Podium, as things stand.
Oh, he's played this very well. But he'll want to win it on track, though, and it looks like he has won it on track. Down to the inside, and the Alfa Romeo moves up into 3rd as an Alfa Romeo driver. I love to see it. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not biased at all. Retires? What?
What? In the pits?
He's retired in the pits. The championship leader's not going to score any points for the 2nd race in a row. And that's going to...
Sorry?
For the 2nd race in a row, the championship leader is not going to score. Maybe he just had damage there. I'm not quite sure what the issue is there. That puts Ferrari of Sano into 4th. We'll wait until all of the penalties are applied before we judge the final positions. But one thing is for certain. This man, Mr. Wiggles, comes across the line with no penalties to his name. He wins the Mexican Grand Prix with an absolutely flawless drive. No penalties. A comfortable lead up in front. This man is the man of the hour.
And that's a really good point from Sketchy's crib. 1010 could have got a puncture.
Ouch. He
could have got a puncture on the last lap of the race.
This man, Sano, stand up and take a bow. Ito's 6th. Richard actually finishes 4th, with Joseph Hales 5th. Flew comes over the line in 7th, with Prev in 8th. Greg comes over the line in 9th. And the last person is Trollabolo. But I think, well, with TD, he didn't finish on the lead lap. So whatever happens with his, let's see, 28 seconds worth of penalties, TD is not going to gain anything from this. He's going to keep 10th place, which I have to say, funny old end to this funny old Grand Prix.
Well, it's to do with how many warnings you get. You could get 2 10-second time penalties straight away, and you could still race. Yes, it's done on warnings, I think, Dayton, not specific time penalties.
Or unless you park your car in qualifying, in which Jamie sadly found out. So there we have a dominant display from Mr. Wiggles, who not only takes the win, leads pretty much every lap, but he also gets the fastest lap. And he finishes ahead of John in second place in the McLaren, with Smaller Smiley takes a well-deserved podium in third in the Aston Martin. 2-0, brilliant debut to score fourth. Joseph Hales recovers to fifth, with Sano another brilliant debut to finish in sixth position. Blue goes into seventh in the Alpine, with Prev rounding off in eighth place in the Mercedes. Greg coming in ninth in the McLaren, and Trollabolo on his debut finishing in 10th place. Come on in Bahrain, it was a hell of a sprint. What can we get now for the feature? It's lights out and away we go, and John takes the lead comfortably. It was a brilliant start from him. Not the best start from Mr. Wiggles. It looks like he's going to lose out, but Smaller Smiley is up the inside of the lot of them in the bonus here. As the Williams goes up into second place, and Smaller Smiley looks like there's almost a little bit of contact there between these cars, and that's such a shame. Deflated Weir spun once again. Deflated Weir spun his Haas outside, and there's a big contact behind it. It looks like that's Tamino getting well out of shape there in his Mercedes. And just as I say that, in the twinkling of an eye, it looks like most people are out on the hards, which means that I can understand why some people would struggle to get over the line. However, it's got to be a little bit steadier now, as Wiggles has dropped back to 8th after all that, and he's only just in front of Joseph Hales. Just loses out, and now he's got Joseph Hales right on the inside of it, coming into the end of the final corner. Is he going to be able to get it? No, he gives up the position, but it looks like he's getting a better exit coming outside. John leads by 1.7 seconds, but it looks like the Mercedes versus the Alpine is going to go down to the outside for the first corner. In lap 2, is the Alpine looks like he's going to have that covered, and it looks like, yes, he does so. It will now be activated, and that's going to work for someone like, 1010 rather, who is now sitting 1.2 seconds behind as the Red Bull goes ahead of the Alfa Romeo and then takes third position, setting the fastest lap as he does so. Now, he is on the faster compound of tyre, so he will have some pace advantage compared to the rest of the field. That the McLaren is... Yeah, the McLaren is certainly running out of energy. A Smaller Smiley goes up against Flew. Fight for fourth place between the Alfa Romeo and the Alpine. He's just held it there. Lovely move, but he gets a time penalty for that yet again. He's got the DRS. Hopefully the Alpines can keep it clean this time. Flew drops all the way back, eager to avoid a collision, I think, with his teammate. Chat banter as well. I think they've clearly gotten us with that one. A Smaller Smiley takes fourth place, at least on track. But Hales goes down to the inside, and Smaller Smiley, he looks like he's going to make the move stick, and yes, he has. The Alpine moves ahead, but Smaller's still staying with him. He's going to have DRS coming into turn 4, but no, he's not, looks like. I thought he would have had DRS there, but crucially, the Alfa Romeo in an Alpine sandwich, Hales moves ahead into fourth place. Later, look, the back end steps out for that McLaren there. Tamino comes into the pit lane to retire, but crucially on track, we've got ourselves a fight for the lead. The Williams goes round to the outside. Is he going to be able to make the move stick? He goes for it, and 1010 takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Absolutely brilliant stuff there, as the McLaren makes a mistake and the Williams capitalizes beautifully.
Yeah, lovely move there by 1010.
To get a point in 10th place.
I tell you what, Flu's got brilliant pace today, and he's only 4 tenths behind his teammate.
That's very good, because we all know that in recent races, Joseph Hales has been somewhat the faster driver, with no disrespect to Flu. But I agree with you, he's doing very well to stay with his teammate after the horrid sprint race that they had. It's almost like watching Brazil in real life F1 22. Gotta go like the absolute clappers at the moment. He looks like he's glitched a little bit there. Let's take the lead. He's got to nail this outlap.
I'll have a watch of the gap. He's 23.6 behind at the minute. 23.8 coming out of the first corner, so I'll have a watch of the gap.
The Williams into the pits. It looks like Flew maybe
24.2 now, so it looks like John Doe's tyres are warming up, but he hasn't done enough to get in front of 10 here.
We'll see what happens. It looks like, yeah, Flew's come into box, but the smaller Smiley is staying out, and crucially, Joseph Hales is boxed.
Yeah, Joseph Hales boxed last lap, so we'll need to get a bit of a gap to his teammate. Let's see where John Dog comes out with compared to 1010. 1010's well far his run. But we have to remember, cold tyres, John Dog's going to have the advantage, and if he can catch up enough, should be in the DRS again.
Bolo gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Comes into the pits. John sets the fastest lap. He knows he's got to go for it here. He's going to throw it down to the inside. Yes, he is. John going for the lead versus 1010. It's almost so close, but they just about avoid contact. He's going to have another run at the cherry for the next DRS zone here. But the Williams he knows that he's coming. He's blocking around to the inside, but the McLaren goes around the outside. He just about held on. Oh, I thought he might have been boxing there, but he's just trying to break the toe. He's got to be careful with the weaving. He's got to cover the inside, but no, he's left the inside open for the McLaren. He goes it down to the inside. What is 1010 doing here? Not the best defense at all. Or maybe he's just giving the position up, maybe so he can come at it later. He's going to have the DRS coming into turn 4, but it looks like... No, it looks like none of them are going to open, which is strange. But that means it's a change for the lead has just happened now. So John, knowing that he had to get past sooner rather than later, has done that. But he's run out of energy. 3-second time penalty for deflated wheel. Here comes Flew. He goes down to the inside. On the time for turn 4, he just about makes the move stick. The Alfa Romeo being very aggressive on corner entry. But Flew stays ahead of Small Smiley and crucially keeps his 5th position. That's all going to help Richard. Again, in turn 1, the Alfa Romeo holds on, and this could mean Deflated Wheel can get a shot himself. He's got some DRS coming into turn 4. Is the Alpine going to go for the move? He throws it down to the inside. Oh, they're so close. I thought would be... Well, it makes it... No, but there's contact between Smaller Smiley and Deflated Wheel. Both of them have hit each other. And there he goes. Now TD is around. When there's a little bit of carnage, and that's going to help Richard
the whole time.
for him to recover his energy and thus take the lead back away from him. So it's very much a game of cat and mouse, but this is looking closer than ever with 2 tenths between these drivers. What's 1010 going to do? He throws it down to the outside. He's going for it now with 3 laps to go. John versus 1010 as he comes down into turn 2, then into turn 3. He's played this very well. He's going to have DRS, but it looks like he's going to out-drag him somewhat into turn 4. It looks relatively easy, but the McLaren's not giving it up. And with that, it looks like there may be curtains for the race. 1010 takes the lead, and with 1 lap fresher tyres and with a lot more ERS, he may have this race pretty much wrapped up. I think and already he's flashing.
1010 says fastest lap on 12-foot lap old medium tyres.
What a race these two have given us.
And John goes deep there, and that ain't going to help him going up to turn 4.
Go Tornado. I don't think anyone's ever called him Go Tornado. I'll just save the GOAT nicknames for Go Tifi. 8 tenths the gap now between the leaders. I have to say, John, as you said, he threw everything he could at him. Straight fight between them for the lead. And I have to say he's driven very well. But in terms of a straight fight, in terms of how everything went in terms of this championship, or in this race rather, 1010 has been the man so far. 13 was used by Pastor Maldonado. I mean, just look at his 2014, 2015 cars. So there we have it, with the Williams coming across the finishing line of the end of the final corner. It's been a bit of a rough patch for the Scotsman. However, he returns back in solid form. 10-10 wins the Bahrain Grand Prix after a close battle with John, who takes a well-deserved podium in second place. Joseph Hales is the next one to come across the line in the Alpine. He takes a respectable result in third, but penalties still have to be applied. We'll just get the leader timelines now. Richard comes across in fourth, so he'll certainly inherit a podium. Deflated Wee is coming across the line in sixth, ahead of Smaller Smiley in seventh. Greg next to come across the line in his McLaren.
Ah, yeah, I remember now.
Greg takes eighth. Cholabolo takes ninth. And Deaton, if he can get across the line quickly, he gets a point in 10th place. And absolutely needs that penalty. No, needs that race, rather. After a couple of rough patches, the championship leader stamps his authority back on the World Championship. Just wait to see what the standings will be confirmed after the Stewart report goes in. Brilliant result, all things considered, for the Scotsman on the day. And there we have it, guys. We have the top results, with 10-10 taking the first step of the podium, with John sitting in second. Joseph Hales will lose third thanks to the sprint race penalties and will sit in fifth. That gives Richard the podium on a second race for no assist here. So very strong result from him. 5 red lights on Monaco, and the race gets underway. Very gingerly start from everybody else in the field. And it looks like a few penalties going on there. And 10-10, the scooter got a penalty. And it looks like Mr. Wiggles has got off the line brilliantly. And he is going to lead the race back through. He has contact at the back. Deaton's had a moment. He's dropped all the way down to 15th, which is an absolute shame for him. Let's see. Drive-through penalties for 10-10, Deaton, 10-10, Smaller Smiley, and Deflated Wee. So all three look like they have potentially jumped the start. But with them all the way, Longson's had a moment. He's gone straight on the first corner. He's got to get on with it to recover. That puts him within range of Deaton now, who's got Smaller Smiley, who's just making his recovery at the moment after his drive-through penalty. Damon is going on to the medium compound tyres already. He's feeling potentially it's dry enough to potentially take a risk, but he won't have anything to lose being at the back anyway. The harder it is to overtake. And he's just shown in his car, trying to scare him off the road, just to show him that he's there. He almost gets a sneak down the inside and almost go around the outside into the casino square. But not quite. He gets the switchback. He's going to be on the outside for the hairpin, though. The Red Bull will have the move covered. He's going to go around the outside of the hairpin. You don't often see overtaking there, but Smaller Smiley has just done it. That could have been the move of the race so far. Nice bit of driving there from the Alfa Romeo, rather. I'm getting so confused with all these team names. What's Deaton going to do? Is he going to be able to attempt to move into the chicane? He's a bit far back. But lovely, well calculated there as Cholabolo spins. Move of the race from Smaller Smiley. Move of the race. Move of the season. You know what? I think you're right. Looks like Greg has come into the pits to retire as Longson tries to go down the inside. Damon also coming in as well, you're right. And Deflated Wee has hit his front wing, so the first of what could be many front wing changes. Deflated Wee drops down to 11th place now with a fifth. Oh, and Trollabolo has crashed. He's the next one to lose his front wing. And that puts Smaller Smiley into 8th. Right round in the Monaco Grand Prix. So there we go. It's going to be a race of attrition with Mr. Wiggle setting the lap of his life. Honestly, I wish you were there to see it, TD. But it was an absolute one. He's 7/10 faster than anybody else.
Bloody hell.
So yeah.
He's been getting the practice in, and
sweating a lot.
10-10, corner cutting. Battling.
He's lost out to Prev.
I think he might have gone straight on at the chicane.
I think he might have given the place up. put on another set of intermediate tyres. That should take him through to
I
the
think
end.
he's going to come out in front of Joseph here.
I'm on board with Joseph now.
And
But
he
no,
pits
he's
as
coming
well.
into the pits.
But I think he'd come out well in front of Joseph. Even without him pitting.
It would have been close. There we have it. You see, Josh has said to Only Novatech he is now a CTFD fan. Burn. Benchmark's going to be for the fastest lap because he is absolutely taking the mick this race. Let's go on board them and see what his sector times are.
I think he's going for fastest lap here.
Yeah, he's definitely going for fastest lap. An aerial shot going into the Rascas and into the final corner.
There we go.
18-1. There we have it.
Back to normal service model.
Yep. Crucially, Joseph Hales, as we're seeing on the screen, is stuck behind Smaller Smiley. He's trying to stretch out his intermediate tyres. Like, he doesn't have to pit. Let's see the time penalty. They've both got 3 seconds. And that guy is right on the back of Deton. He's... Oh. Oh, dear. This is so close. You can just see how frustrated that guy is getting behind the Red Bull because Joseph Hale's close to Smaller Smiley. Oh, but so close coming out of the pit lane. Did you see that?
Wheels is about to lap Dayton and that guy.
Wow. It's got 19 lap younger tyres. Steely says he's got more tread on his head. Oh, and Smaller Smiley. He's lost out. He's gone off.
And I think that's just the tyres wearing.
Yeah. Completely missed that. Apologies for that, viewers.
He might as well now.
Yeah,
I think he just wanted to try and keep P2 when he knows he's going to lose it to Dano, so he might as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. He'll stay ahead of Richard. No.
Around this track and in the wet, it certainly isn't that easy.
Nope. Just ask everybody here. Get the fastest lap. So 17.6. You would imagine that.
You can imagine Wiggles is going to pit.
Yeah. Richard goes in again. I think he's going for another fastest lap attempt.
It just looks like a lovely lap at the minute. Richard.
17.5. Two
2 tenths up, which will get in the fastest lap at a minute.
That guy gets another time penalty.
That is so committed.
Especially in the wet.
It's just inches from every single wall. And he crosses the line, and there you go.
17.3.
But don't be surprised if that is the only attempt for the fastest lap.
No, we still got 3 laps to go, so somebody else may very well get the fastest lap attempt. Sano's dropped back, safer driver of the day, but I would put Deton up there because his driving.
I'd say Dayton and Wiggles at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd definitely give Small a special mention because I think he got a drive through at the start.
Yeah,
If I remember rightly.
I think 3 drivers got drive-through penalties for jumping the start. So, penalties creeping in, plenty of mistakes, and the order could very well change as we soon get round to the line. But as it's the final lap, we're just going to go on board with Mr. Wiggles, who has had, well, one could be put an absolutely dominant drive. Fastest lap, and I imagine he's probably going to go for fastest lap yet again. Get himself another 20 quid to add to his sterling drive, it has to be said. Absolutely.
He's 1.2 down, so I think he's just bringing it home, to be honest.
Ah, fair play. Well, he's got the fastest lap wrapped up. Into the Rascas he goes. while it's been raining in Monaco, which is the ultimate challenge for people on this game, this man has only had one incident to change his front wing, but sheer dominance comes his way yet again for Wiggles. He wins the Monaco Grand Prix in the wet in Monaco. Brilliant stuff, it has to be said. Joseph Hales trying to eke out everything that he can, but it's only going to be potentially third as Seno comes across the line. The Ferrari has done a brilliant job to get onto the podium in only his third race for IIRL. Smaller Smiley has pulled out a little bit of extra time on Richard, so he should keep his fourth place. For him to get sixth, and after a brilliant defense against that guy. Brilliant drive there from TRC Deton.
TD.
Yeah, I was about to say you for a second. I was almost getting mixed up with Mexico. Richard comes across the line in fifth. We've still got a few more drivers. We've still got that guy who's finally come across the line. And Longson in the Aston Martin. A dominant drive from Mr. Wiggles, who comes across the line and takes a mighty chunk out of both John and 1010. Who knows? The championship could still very well be on here. So I think we're pretty much agreed. Wiggles and Deton both get driver of the day.
Yeah, I'd say so. Dayton, I think that's the best I've ever seen him do. When in probably, except from full wet, it's one of the hardest things you can ever have. Really.
So we'll just run you through the top 10 that finished. We had Mr. Wiggles, who took the fastest lap and the 20 quid Amazon voucher, and he wins the race comfortably. Seno goes second, with a brilliant race for Ferrari. Hales finishes third after his track penalty. Smaller Smiley finished fourth after trying to go long, but sadly it cost him. Richard finished in fifth for the Red Bull, followed by Deton, who put in a brilliant defensive drive to get to sixth place. Trollabolo finishes in seventh for AlphaTauri. Coming on your screen, and when they go out, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will be underway. Absolutely. Looks like a very, very good start there from John. Bad start there from Mr. Wiggles behind, and what is happening there? Almost like a glitch. The Hassel's almost mounting the Red Bull at the back. As you can see, the back of the screen, everybody seems to be getting around without too much trouble. It's a very strong, very tidy start there for the rest of the field, but it looks like John doing everything he needs to do. The top positions haven't changed between the top few drivers. We've got once broken the DRS to Mr. Wiggles, who crucially has gotten 1010 and Top Gun behind him. There's not going to be much he can do. Now, could it potentially be 4 abreast into the first corner? Prep chucks it down the inside. A little bit of contact with them in the Red Bull. So, not quite the tidiest bit of driving, it has to be said. As Deflated Wee's going to throw it potentially down to the inside, but he backs out of it quite sensibly. Almost 5 line astern through the tight S's here. This looks insane to watch right now. 5 of them so close between each other. Obviously, it all just depends who gets the best exit as the lead for P3 and 4's changed. It looks like Top Gun has gotten past 1010. So too bad we missed that move there. But there was looks like the Williams has certainly passed the Merc here. Oh, that is so close. Only just giving him enough space. Williams goes wide though. That's going to give Wiggles another opportunity around the outside of that right-hander. You don't often see overtakes there, but Wiggles goes now back through the Williamson into the inside and back into second place. Oh, and there we have 1010 right behind all of this. As just as this is happening, John is pulling out a stop by nearly 3 seconds from these guys. He's got that move covered. Oh, and look at 1010. He's throwing it down to the inside. That's a late move there from the Scot, the championship leader. That's a very ambitious overtake. That could be the move of the race so far. From second down to fourth. They're very line astern. If you look at the lead that John's built up already, it's 4.6 seconds, which is a mile in league racing. 4.3 now the gap. You could very well see... you could see John in the next lap attempting to box as 1010 goes for second place and takes it. Oh, and look at this. A nice little battle going on between Prev and Richard. And Prev shoves him off the track. Very aggressive bit of defending there. And that leaves Deflated Wee the opportunity to get by himself. Gap between the leaders stays at 4.3. Has to be said, both of them going onto the medium compound tyre. And that's a very early call to make. Oh, and 10-10. Oh, no. Deflated Wee and Prev hitting each other. And that's a shame. It looks like Deflated Wee will have to give that place up. We don't always like to see contact. It's on the medium tyres. It's a bit of a weird strategy. But the Williams covers the inside. The Mercedes goes round to the outside. What a move from Mr. Wiggles. Deflated Wee gets a 3-second time penalty. Right now. There we go. And Top Gun throws it again down to the inside. So just when you thought it was over, it's anything but over. So we see some more pit stops. Greg comes into the pit, as does Damon, Deton. It's just those three for now. As now, 10-10 deciding it's time to box, but he's going to lose out a lot to these two. That's quite a lot of time he's lost through that pit stop phase, but hopefully those 3 laps extra life should make the difference. They should be able to catch these two back up, because they'll inevitably lose time fighting each other. It's gone round. And that puts Wiggles and Top Gun rightly back into second and third. Soon, this will be for the softs. Doesn't make any sense now to go on to the hards. There he goes. And yes, it is the soft compound tyre. Wiggles and Top Gun are still fighting each other. Where they're going to come out relative to John. Yellow's in sector 1. The Williams throws down to the inside. 10-10 takes the lead almost. But Wiggles now back into the lead as they're all fighting each other. And look how close John has gotten out to the back of these guys. This is an absolute treat for the leader, who now finds himself on soft compound tyres while the rest are on mediums. He hasn't got the energy to deploy. However, John has got the tyres and the DRS. Is he going to attempt another move here, potentially on the second Williams right now? He is going to try it, but 10-10 looks like he's got that move just about covered. And that's going to give Mr. Wiggles a little bit of breathing space, as the McLaren on fired up soft compound tyres has got it all to do if he wants to regain the lead of this race. And there we go. He's going to attempt a penalty around the outside. Did a move that Lance Stroll attempted around the outside of one of the Ferraris in real life Formula 1. Is he going to make it stick? It looks like he's just about going to do it. That is a lovely move from John there in the McLaren. Absolutely brilliant stuff. This almost loses the back end there. And with John having DRS now, that will surely see him into the lead. But I don't think Wiggles wants to give this one up. He throws it down to the inside. A very optimistic overtake there. But he's just about lost the position to John, who now retakes the lead thanks to being on those soft tyres. And now, crucially, Wiggles is now out of DRS, as we likely would have suspected from that blunder that he made. Oh, and now Wiggles has lost it again. Wiggles has now dropped down to 4th. And has he damaged his front wing? This, as Top Gun's tyres decide to die. With DRS and ERS, he'll take second place for now, but he's got to be able to open up that gap. If he doesn't, then Top Gun will be over him like super glue. Let's see what other battles that we've got. So we've got Prev and Colucci. About 5 tenths away from each other. Longson is doing well to sit in 7th place. But he switches him back. But he's got an extra 3 seconds worth of penalties. Versus John. 9 tenths are in it. It all just depends on how much life he's got. He hasn't got much in terms of ERS. But crucially, 10-10 is now within DRS. This could be a grandstand finish here, guys. I thought he had this race fully covered, but it doesn't quite look like it. This could be a close to the line finish. What's 1010 going to do? Has John run out of tyres almost? It looks like he's got a very, very good exit. He looks like he's going to go to the wire. Who's going to win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? And it's going to be John by not even a tenth of a second. Those tyres were absolutely done by the end. Top Gun takes third, and Mr. Wiggles, thanks to his mistake, 1010 pushes now, and that was so close. He'll be ruining that on-track penalty. However, Mr. Wiggles comes across the line and takes fourth, ruining his mistake, it has to be said, with Richard coming across the line in 5.4 seconds. Hasn't quite got there, but he's just about prep, almost just beat him to the line. Colucci, that race was a bit of a slow burner, that one. And don't beat yourself up. I wouldn't say beat yourself up. So here we go. John only just wins by less than a tenth of a second from 1010 with his teammate. So that, all things considered, with 19 points with 259 versus Wiggles on 210, all he has to do, if Wiggles retires, if Wiggles and John both retire, he just needs 10th to secure the World Championship. So there we have it, folks. Here we have the top 10 point scoring positions for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We have John first in the McLaren. Brilliant drive from him. 1010 finishes in second with Top Gun third. 1010 also getting the fastest lap. Wiggles in fourth. Deflated Wee in fifth. Richard is in sixth. Lonson is seventh in the Aston Martin. Good drive from him. Preb sits in eighth with Colucci in ninth. Trollobolo sits in 10th in the AlphaTauri. Deaton, Girthy Steve, and Greg sit in. And the Portuguese Grand Prix is underway. Looks like a fairly tidy start. I think Joseph Hales had the better start than anybody here. He's going to have the line down to the inside, and the Alpine takes the lead. 1010, he has to yield, but it looks like John, a lot of the people are starting on the softs now. So that's crucial for the championship leader. He has lost position. A lot of people are starting on mediums, softs as well. John especially surprising to start on the softs. What's 1010 going to do? He's about 10th behind. Is he going to throw it down to the inside of turn 5? Yes, he is. And just like that, he retakes the lead and he loses the back end somewhat. So he's going to drop back to potentially third. Yes, he is. He's dropped back to third with Smaller Smiley. It was all the way up into second. Brilliant start from the Alfa Romeo, who's just always been there or thereabouts with the leaders. So Joseph Hale leads with Smaller Smiley second. 1010 is third. And John not getting the start he wants down in fourth. Yet again, all normal Ferrari things. Trust in the master plan. Deflated Wee sits behind the Williams. He's not going to attempt to move right now. Now, this is lap 4 of 33. And crucially, as things stand, 1010 would become the world champion. Let Joseph cook indeed. L plan and all that lovely stuff. I think John racing him side by side through the final corner. He's going to have to exercise just a little bit of caution, and crucially for Deflated Wee. No, for Mr. Wiggles rather. That's going to give him a massive slingshot coming in down the pit straight. John has now dropped from 3rd to 6th in the space of 6 laps. And for a guy starting the soft car, by the time he's coming down the inside, no, he's not. Deaton gets the first time penalty of the race, so only lap 6. I was wondering when that was going to come. And crucially for Smaller Smiley, he's going to be passed here by 1010, who lost pole position on the start, but now he's going to be well within range potentially to catch up to the back of Joseph Hales. He should be able to get DRS just as long as he has a brilliant next set of corners. But he's locked up, he goes wide, and that's going to allow the Alfa Romeo back through potentially. No, he's not. Deflated Wee goes into 4th. But crucially, he's got the Mercedes right behind him. Mr. Wiggles going to chuck it down to the inside. Yes, he is. And Smaller Smiley's lost. He's lost second place. It goes in way too deep. Deflated Wee, rather, staying right in front of Mr. Wiggles. This is brilliant racing, it has to be said. As John is going to have to sit back and hopefully he can pick up a few places. Because I imagine his tyres are slowly starting to go off. John's soft to hard. So I think I'll find that quite hard to work. That the weather has already started to go bad. It's already raining, as you can see, as you saw previously through John's time. As you can see, Smaller Smiley's made a mistake, and that crucially is going to allow Deflated Wee potentially into 3rd place. No, he's not. So Smaller Smiley made a mountain of errors there, as the Haas potentially can find a way past the Alfa Romeo coming into the next corner. When will DRS be disabled though? What's Wiggles going to be able to do? Smaller Smiley trying to defend that position with everything he's got. And it looks like he's just about making it stick the defense. He's going to have the inside coming into the next right-hand corners. However, Deflate's really not going to give that one up, and that's very wide there for Mr. Wiggles. These two pretty much line astern, but Deflated just gets the drive that he needs. And lovely bit of racing there from the pair of them. Going into the pits, well, the leaders are obviously separated by very little. And yeah, he's gone onto the intermediate tyres. That could be the earliest potential gamble. So make his way past the Alfa Romeo. He's not going to give in though, as he goes down. He holds up behind him there. Smaller Smiley loses a bit of track end, but Wiggles loses his rear end, it has to say. He's coming around the penultimate corner, I should say, right now. Smaller Smiley actually stays out for another lap, which seems a little bit crazy, all things considered. Don't forget that 1010 is in the Williams there. And there we see, it's just completed his pit stop, but what's Joseph Hale's going to do? Where's he going to come out? It looks like he may stay ahead of the Williams, and yes, he does stay ahead of the Williams. So Joseph Hales keeps the lead by going on an alternate strategy. And nice sort of aerial shot there for us all to watch as Darkling and Flu go to war between them. Red versus blue. And Smaller Smiley's had a horrible exit, and that's going to give Top Gun potentially the outside of the first corner. Is he going to be able to make anything here? Can he pull off and move around the outside? No, he can't, but he switches back. Brilliant move there from the Alpha Tauri. He goes up into 7th place. Smaller Smiley losing out yet again. But I have to say, given it was all in intermediate conditions, brilliant bit of driving there from the Alpha Tauri. Switcheroo indeed, and it was an absolute joy to behold. Now let's see what happens between Flu and Padge. These two are having a nice little scrap between them for the final point. Blue's got a little bit twitchy there, and that's going to give Padge an opportunity to go down the inside. Is he going to be able to make the move stick coming into the hairpin? The Alpine's going to stay around to the outside, but he gets the better drive coming out of the corner, and that should cover him for now. I think that's Wiggles. Wiggles has gone round, and that could be crucial in terms of the championship here. CT, how are you doing? I don't know why they're still out either. And he retires. Wiggles has retired. So that's it for him in terms of the championship. All 1010 needs to do now is finish. Okay, so he's got to finish at least. If John wins, he's got to finish at least 2nd. As you can see, he's all over the back of the McLaren, and it won't be long until he's fully past him. We're going round the outside, and it's relatively easy pickings, but there's a little bit of contact there, and John has gone off as a result. Very controversial move there from Deflated Wheat. It could have been just a racing incident. However, it could be something that the stewards may potentially look at. Cleaner, and thankfully it is, Deflated Wheat goes into the lead. Almost. But the Williams is still on the inside. He's not giving this one up. You drive as if he's got nothing left to lose. It's not like he's in the lead of the championship or anything. However, Deflated Wee makes the move stick now as he takes the lead of this Portuguese Grand Prix, which has been one of the craziest, it has to be said, in terms of changeable conditions. 1010 getting so much drive compared to how he goes round the outside in the penultimate corner. Is he going to make the move stick? Darking as gets a 5-second time penalty and retires his car. That means leaves Padge still in the points. And just like that, 1010 moves comfortably back into the lead. And currently, as things stand right now, with 5 laps to go, including the one they're on right now, 1010 will seal the World Championship. It makes up. However, the McLaren rather, just drives straight past the Haas like he's not even there. And with 2.6 seconds to 1010, it looks like John will win the Grand Prix. But it's going to be all about this man right now. With 7 wins and so much consistency going into this round. With that guy in the points as well, that will surely ensure the Constructors' World Championship for Williams. So it adds even more to what has been a very magic 200th race for IIRL. We are about to watch 1010 come across the line and become the world champion with 2 races to go. With that track penalty, it's not going to give him the race win, which would have been an even more apt way to seal off his championship glory. However, John will come across the line to take the crown, but with an unsayable points advantage. 1010 comes across the line, and he is the world champion of the no assist tier for IRL. He has done it more than enough to secure himself the world title with 2 races to go. And I have to say, what a season this man has had. He's done it. The hardest tier in this league, and he's now comes across the finishing line a world champion. Great recovery from John to win the race. Joseph Hales recovers brilliantly to 3rd. Top Gun comes to 4th from 15th, which is brilliant. Deflated Wee sadly couldn't do anything more with his wet tyres in 5th. That guy comes across the line in 6th and loses 7th to Smaller Smiley. Race it was. Very unpredictable. And there we have it, guys. There we have it. So just like that, guys, we have both championships wrapped up in this absolutely magic stream. And I have to say, this has been truly... It's been an absolute joy to commentate on. We've still got 2 more races of fun where everything is off. No rules are off the table. And I have to say, with 7 wins and so much brilliant consistency going into the season, we have a very worthy world champion in 1010. So there we have it, folks. We'll just wait until we can get 1010 on, if he's available. But we'll go through the race. Well, John wins for his 4th win of the season. So brilliant stuff with 1010 second and confirmed world champion. Hales recovers well to 3rd with Top Gun sitting well in 4th. Last little bits of glory as we come up to 5 red lights. And the Spanish Grand Prix round 17 is underway. And the McLaren looks like he's got a brilliant start indeed. It's a long run down to the start-finish straight. However, it looks like Deflategate is going to get the jump on all of them. He goes down to the inside, jumps into 2nd place. It's not the best start for the McLaren. Can he get around the outside as O2? And there's contact at the end of turn 2. Deflategate has been spun, and Top Gun has dropped all the way to the back. Just as I say that, and just that 1010's been involved in there as well. Absolute carnage, you're right. So 1010 off, Smaller Smiley off, Lonson, Richard, Top Gun, that... Absolute madness at the moment. And just getting back to where we are with the start, I almost forgot to set everything because it's just been absolute chaos as you've just flew, as does Richard, so they've obviously got damage, but IIRL is taking the lead. Didn't quite see that move, so apologies for that, but the Ferrari, being absolute merchant that he is, and 1010 comes into the pits as well. He's obviously retired, so championship winner is out of the race, and that leaves the last little bits of glory to go between IIRL, Hales, and Wiggles. I thought I'd be such an influence on this league.
Cue the spark commands in the chat.
Go on, guys, do your worst. So it's about 4/10 an advantage he could gain. So he really needs to be about 5 or so tenths before he realistically tries a move. And as you can see, Top Gun makes his way past Damon in the AlphaTauri. The McLaren back up to 9th.
And Padge off. Exit of turn 2, lost traction, and unfortunately that is a full course safety car.
Wow.
Debris on track.
Full course safety car, and more importantly, because that's the only thing that only matters here, he's lost his front wing. Of course I'll be picking up on that. We know him. He's got the pace to potentially win this Grand Prix. However, people at the front that we're going to have to worry about more than anything. And IIRL looks like he's gone. Yes, he has. He's gone. And he's lost
he's
it!
spun!
I don't believe it!
Oh, that guy spun.
What is going on this race? But anyway, we're back at the front. Mr. Wiggles goes up into second. However, he holds on to second, and Top Gun now goes back up to fourth. It's all just falling back into his pocket right now, isn't it? And the Wiggles has gone off!
My words. Both Mercedes having horrible restarts. Kimi went so far wide he had to take to the gravel on the final corner of that restart.
And he's lost his front wing, crucially. Is the Haas going to go for an overtake here? He knows he's got a massive fight with Joseph Hales for fourth here. Haas goes down to the inside. And just like that, Deflated Weed goes into fourth place. Oh, and Deton's had a crash with Flu.
Absolute carnage.
Absolute carnage indeed. Blue's going for a move against the Ferrari. Red versus Blue down to turn one. He's just made it stick. However, the McLaren is sitting very patiently behind all of them as they fight. As that guy comes into the pits. I think he's retiring from the session. Yeah, he is. As those two are still fighting. Well, Blue goes around the outside and he's made some contact there. And how do you read that one?
I was on board with Top Gun the whole time. It looked like both were entitled to space, but I think it was just a racing incident for me.
Slap. The AlphaTauri knows he's coming, and I don't think he's going to fight this one too hard. No, he's not. Down the inside he goes. And the McLaren's not too far behind either. Look how close John is to the back of Damon there. He's just got so much more grip and so much more poise and confidence in that car that Damon doesn't really have much of a defense. Like, if he jumps down the outside, I can imagine the AlphaTauri will jump straight out of the way. He goes round the outside. He hasn't quite made the move stick. He's still around the outside coming into the next sector though, but he's made the move stick. I gotta say, lovely bit of overtaking, but he's gone wide a little bit and he's lost it again! I don't believe it! What is going on out there? Just when you think it's starting to come back for him, he's made another mistake. Anywho, it's slowly spreading out between the top two. So Joseph Hales is now in the pits. So let's see where he comes out. He's gone onto the mediums as predicted. Is he going to get out ahead of the Mercedes, who's come across the start-finish straight line now? And yeah, he'll be ahead of the Mercedes comfortably. Joseph Hales in a very good window coming out of the pits right now. He's got about 2 seconds to Smaller Smiley, and he's got 2.6 seconds ahead of Kimi. Certainly is. I think Richard has absolutely got to stop. I think he'll likely be going onto the soft compound tyre. As we see the Ferrari on the medium compound tyre just make quick work of the Mercedes, and IIRL has got 6.5 seconds to make up to Smaller Smiley to help his chances of getting a podium, and with 9 or 10 laps to go, it's not impossible because Smaller Smiley would have killed his tyres at that point.
Be careful on this track.
Yeah, because it is one of the spaces that's just going to bite as Top Gun sets the fastest lap, who's sitting right behind Asmafrog. Let's see what he does against Kimi. He goes down to the inside and he's made it stick. Lovely move there from Asmafrog. Pretty textbook, that one.
Top Gun in the background. Second time this race, he's been watching 2 people fight directly ahead of him.
But he'll be fancying this. He won't want to get in the way. However, he's throwing himself down the inside to the Mercedes. But he hasn't made the move stick. Now all this will be costing him time, so they're certainly going to... I mean, he's had an outside chance for a win anyway, ever since the numerous of incidents that he's had. Kimi goes wide, so that's going to let the McLaren go round the outside. Is he going to be ahead by the time he gets to the corner? Yes, he is just about, and it looks like John will have, well, sorry, Top Gun rather, will have that move covered. Just Asthma Frog now to go. Oh, and he's lost it!
Oh, Asthma Frog.
And that's hit Top Gun as well, and that's going to allow Kimi back past. Oh. Because the gap between IIRL and Small the Smiley is 2.6 seconds now. Much of a contest here. Small the Smiley really can't put up too much of a fight. IIRL goes down to the inside. But fair play to Small the Smiley, still trying to fight it. But looks like the Ferrari will just have him covered. He's got so much more grip. And he just plain out drives him. Now with 6 laps to go, interesting to see what he can do against Richard and Deflated Wee, who I'm convinced now they've got to be going to the end. Finish, has to be said, Richard has done 31 laps on those hards and is 1.4 seconds off the lead. IIRL has come in with only 13 laps, and say Longson has disqualified as well. Smaller Smiley has also been disqualified, so not quite sure what's going on here. A lot of DQs. I don't know whether there's been a glitch or something.
There must be a glitch. It says that Smaller Smiley was disqualified for not using 2 tyre compounds, but he did. He started on mediums and finished on hards.
This race is going to be I'm sorry, but this race is it can't glitch people out for the sake of a win, but hopefully that's not going to be the case when the leaders come across the start-finish straight, come across the line. It's going to be a brilliant drive so far for Deflated Wee. He's coming across the chicane now, and Richard has held on for the lap of his life with the car behind with 31 laps, but it is Deflated's day. He wins the Spanish Grand Prix. 28 laps on those hards. Richard does 32. Brilliant driving, it has to be said. IIRL finishes in 3rd. Top Gun in 4th. Sano finishes in 5th, with Asthma Frog due to come across the line in 6th. Kimi is in 7th, coming across the line. Decent result.
Smaller. Sorry, Spot. Smaller. Make sure you got a clip of what happened.
Yeah.
And send it to the stewards regardless, because that may be something that we can look at.
Absolutely, we ought to. Because that 5th place should stand, but as far as Joseph Hales is concerned...
Oh, Diesel might get Gregor in the line. Oh, it's close.
It's so close!
Oh, not quite.
Oh, that was very close indeed. As Padge, what that situation has been. Padge is waiting. I think he might do...
The slowest spin in existence.
I don't know whether I should be proud or embarrassed about that one.
Nah, it's just funny.
Yeah, absolutely. As Padge comes across the line, here we have a very chaotic race with, strangely enough, some weird old decisions that the game has made. Oh, that is going to be a tough one. I'll probably say, because of the stint he pulled on those hards, I'd probably be inclined to give it to Richard. He's done 32 laps on those hard compound tyres. I think that's got to be worth. It's got to be worth at least a mention, or if not driver of the day. Deflated Wee has put in a comfortable drive, so I would be tempted to give it to him.
Special mentions, definitely Asthma Frog, Kimi.
Yeah.
Good gains through the field.
Top Gun for his brilliant pole.
And, oh, people are mocking you. 1010 is officially now world champion, you can say that.
Well, if you guys saw the front of the stream, I had the egg on my face. He's not racing, so technically he was champion, so I was right anyway. So there we go, guys. We'll take you through the top 10. So Deflated Wee wins with Richard in second place in the Red Bull. IIRL J is in third, with Top Gun getting the fastest point for fastest lap in the pole sitter, who was focusing on 5 red lights in front of him. And it will be go for the Japanese Grand Prix. Great start there from the McLaren, but Deflated Weed looks like he's got a good one himself. Look at him, he's already in second place. Deflated Weed had an absolute cracker of a start. IIRL J falling back, and John getting absolutely the start that he needs, but Wiggles drops down into 6th behind in his Mercedes. So that was not the start that he needed, with 1010 sitting in 12th. And we're starting in 15th. Padge drops all the way down to 16th, with TD sitting in 11th. Deflated Wee wasting absolutely no time behind. We're going to turn all of these simples on and everything. And behind we have that guy and Arjun, who I believe may have made some contact between each other. John starting the race on the hard compound tyre, so no wonder Deflated Wee is all over him. You're going to go into the hair, but the Haas looks like may try and move for the lead. He's got a car up the inside, but they do touch. But John just about stays ahead. John is ghosted up behind. Is he having problems with connectivity? It looks like he is, and it looks like Deflated is going to overtake him as the McLaren ahead is well and truly ghosted. Deflated Wee goes into the lead. John having problems already. Now, what we're seeing what happened to him is seen as what's happened to Joseph Hales behind, and I think Arjun has had a moment going off in his Alpine. History of APS and IIRL. A veteran racer, but able to jump in and reserve it at a short moment's notice. And now, as you can see on the screen, Joseph Hales has lost out DRS to Deflated Wee. That's going to put him under a little bit of pressure now from IIRL J. And after about 4 or so laps, you think Deflated will still have some extra life in the tyre to make some difference. And just like that, he's over a second now. But coming into the straight, clearly using a little extra energy to stay in touch, makes a mistake in his Williams, drops down to 12th as a result of that. And crucially, John is still ghosted. Advantage there. And what's happened in front? Is that Wiggles? Yes, Wiggles has made another costly mistake. And that is going to hamper his championship chances quite considerably, given what he needs to overturn John in the standings. He's dropped all the way back to 9th place, where he needs at least second rather, to be in with a shot. Prev has got DRS. The Mercedes senses an opportunity and goes down to the inside before turn 1. And Prev makes the move stick quite considerably, but goes a little bit wide. And maybe Richard sniffing a bit of a chance to counter-attack coming into the next corner. He can't go around the outside there, so he just has to back off and just accept that he's lost that position. Smaller Smiley sits behind, 3/10 behind this battle. So 4th, 5th and 6th looking very, very juicy between them, it has to be said. Deflated Wee now is only a second ahead of these guys, so he's just lost a little bit of time maybe, and now 7/10, so he's clearly had a moment coming out of one of the 2 Degners as far as his championship back. Won't let him join back in the session, doesn't exist for me anymore. What an amazing game, and that is such a shame. Oh, and Smaller Smiley comes into the pits, and he's lost it into the wall. He's lost it into the wall. As you can see on the Alpine, the Smaller Smiley has lost it into the wall. Is that going to bring out a safety car? Richard comes into the pits, ideally anticipating that safety car. But it's crucial. What is the game going to do here? It's so far, it hasn't thrown a safety car yet. But given where Smaller Smiley is, that's very sketchy there. I'm wondering whether that's going to... And that's it for Smaller Smiley's championship. The over the start finish straight. TD not having the best exit there, but he's going to have enough in his pocket, I think, to defend against Mr. Wiggles, who comes round into the first corner. He's not going to be close enough, and TD backs off there, and it looks like potentially let him through. Maybe he felt he brake tested Mr. Wiggles and decided to be a bit kind, but then again, he hasn't done anything to hold up Mr. Wiggles' race. He's 11 seconds back from the leaders, but he's got to make that opportunity stick. And speaking of opportunities, one very well be in the case in the in pocket for IIRL J. as Joseph Hales goes wide, he loses some time to deflated wheel, and crucially, IIRL sitting right behind him. Hards can do a maximum of about 18 laps, so Richard's going to be pushing it in terms of tyre life. At least there's some consolation in that his at least he would have burned off some fuel. However, it is a tall order to be able to challenge for any. We comes into the pits to change onto the hard compound tyres, and this is going to be crucial for the Haas to see where he comes out. There's quite a little bit of traffic, so ideally he wants to come out just before the Aston Martin of Asperfrog. He's in a Haas, so he's going to go quite late down the pit lane. It's going to be close to see where he comes out. He may just get ahead of the Ferrari of Sano, but no, the Ferrari comes out just ahead of him. So he's probably got about 1 to 2 seconds of breathing space there. So he's got, as long as he clears that Ferrari quickly, he should be able to make the most out of those hard compound tyres. Joseph Hale sets the fastest lap of the race. Wiggles now comes into the pits, but he hasn't got any damage. He's just going on to the mediums very, very early. It's a bit, I mean, that's certainly an alternate strategy. That's certainly what I would call it. Is he going to get out ahead of the Aston, though? I don't think he will. So, is he going to get out ahead of Deaton in the Red Bull? We'll stay on board with him. Where's the Mercedes? And no, he's not going to come out in front of him. He's going to come out behind Padge, maybe. Now, that has not worked out for Mr. Wiggles at all. That hasn't worked out well for him at all. His leader, Sargent, has retired from the session, but he has done so, I believe, on track, which you're not allowed to do. And that has thrown out the safety car. That completely changes everything in terms of the strategy. Yellow's in Sector 1 and 2. I don't know what... Yeah, it is a full-blown safety car. So, I don't know what Arjun was doing there, but he's crashed the car. So, he has come in and that's going to cost the leaders, crucially. That's going to cost them massively here. And go. He wanted to race, and seeing this is the last race of the year, I thought it goes. But crucially, Mr. Wiggles, this is for the championship, and he goes into 3rd place. Now he's got to catch the leaders, who are currently fighting amongst themselves. Well, he did join me briefly, Sun God, for a little bit of comms during the break when he got knocked out of Q2. But as of now, he is racing. And now, crucially, Mr. Wiggles is finding himself back in the hunt for 2nd in the World Championship as John and Richard fight amongst each other. With 2 tenths back, just all he needs now is a good exit. And the move is on for him to overtake Prev. Prev's got a pretty good exit. We know he's coming. Deflated Wheel has dropped out of DRS range. 5 laps to go in this no assist season. And then we'll know for sure who's going to be ahead of who in the championship as that guy pulls a move on Asperfrog. Badge currently sitting in 10th, who's obviously forgot his setup, bless him. But at least he's still there. And what has happened to Asperfrog? He's dropped down to 10th now. And that could give John's AI a chance of a point. John commentating whilst racing. TD gets the time penalty. 3 seconds that will be added to his time after the race. We're coming up to the last lap but one. It's almost make or break time for Mr. Wiggles, but that was a brilliant exit there from Joseph Hales. And Wiggles not close enough. This is the last lap but one before this championship comes to an end. Now, these guys have done absolutely amazingly well to resist the pressure. That guy passes Deaton, and now that guy is in the pound seat for 6th place. It looks like Deaton may be finishing 8th, all things considered. But the leaders are making this work absolutely treat for us. It's so close between these guys. They're following virtually nose to tail, and they run with absolutely no assist. It's just pure ability, and that guy loses the car and drops all the way back to 10th place, and that could give John a point. crucially. So hopefully, with a point difference, the gap will be 17 points. Actually, no, it will be enough for Wiggles to get into second place in the standings. So IIRL J, is he going to attempt to move now on the Alpine? These two on the last lap. John will secure second in the standings as that guy drops to 12th as he just makes a mistake himself. Deton only 3 seconds. He's 3 seconds back from TD, so it looks like the AlphaTauri will hang on to his 6th place. Is IIRL J going to attempt to move into the hairpin? He's deploying urge, as you can see on the steering wheel, but he's just not close enough. Wiggles is hoping for a bit of contact between these two, but they are so close coming into the end of the second sector, coming into the spoon curve. IIRL J is so close, and just before the dying stages of this championship, is anything naughty going to happen between these two that could save Wiggles' World Championship hopes? But IIRL J makes a big mistake here, and now this is for second in the World Championship. Is Wiggles going to go down to the inside for the 1 minute, for the 130R? Yes, he is, but he hasn't made the move stick, and that is going to be curtains for his chances of finishing second in the World Championship, as Joseph Hales resists all the pressure in the world to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Brilliant bit of strategy from him. IIRL J takes second and Wiggles in third, and that confirms John is now second in the World Championship standings. Deflated Wee secures fourth. Joseph Hales will be in 5th, and Smaller Smiley, nothing he can do, in 6th. As everybody comes across the line, TD does hang on to 6th, with Asperfrog finishing in 8th, Padge in 9th, and John's AI will not score any points.
Then coming out of spoon and nearly lost it, which was fun, but
absolutely.
yeah, it was good. I had fun.
That last lap was absolutely sweaty. I mean, in IIRL J on the 130R, but he just couldn't pull it off, and that could have gotten second in the championship. That was absolutely, that was a nice finish, it has to be said. Sun God clearly prefers you in the comms box. So there we have it, guys. With with the fastest point, Mr. Wiggles ties with John for points, so it's gonna go to countback. Interesting. So if I
think Wiggles has got more wins.
Let's see. So Wiggles has 3 wins compared to John's 4.
Oh, John gets it.
So there we have it, folks. A championship announcement that I've actually got right for once. So, on countback, crucially, John gets second in the championship standings.